All right, folks, if I could have your attention. We've now concluded executive session and no action was taken during executive session. I'm going to call the business meeting to order. Laura Lee, would you please call the roll?
Stu Boyd.
Here.
Denise Chapman.
Here.
Lori Goebel.
Here.
Don Kirk. Alexandra Lessem.
Here.
Nancy Rumfelt.
Here.
Mike Scholl.
All right, thank you. Nancy, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, Nancy. Denise, would you read the mission statement, please?
It empowers, challenges, and inspires students, faculty, staff, parents, and school leaders and community members to learn, achieve, and excel.
All right, thank you, Denise. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Could I have a motion from a member of the board to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion regarding adopting the agenda?
I would like to pull item 6.8.
All right, let's do that when we get to action consent.
Okay.
And you can pull
Thank
it
you.
at that point then.
Who made the motion? Sorry, Stu, who made the motion?
Denise.
Denise,
Thank you.
all right. Laura Lee, are you up to what we've done? Okay. So we had a motion, a second. There is no discussion. We'll proceed to the vote. Laura Lee, please call the roll.
Stu Boyd.
Aye.
Denise Chapman.
Aye.
Lori Goebel.
Aye.
Don Kirk.
Aye.
Alexandra Lessem.
Aye.
Nancy Rumfelt.
Aye.
All right, thank you. And the vote total is 6 in favor of the motion, 0 against. We'll move then to the next section of the agenda, which deals with public participation. We'll begin with presentation by Loveland Classical Schools and New Vision Charter School. So I invite whoever's part of that to come forward.
And Mr. President, I believe it will just be Loveland Classical tonight.
Okay.
New Vision had a conflict, so it will just be Loveland Classical.
All right,
tonight.
thank you. I didn't know that.
Thank you for the opportunity to share about our school year at Loveland Classical Schools. My name is Rachel Magoo, and I am entering University of Nebraska-Lincoln in the fall to study communications. I was awarded the LCS Foundation Scholarship for my time at UNL. We are happy to share that LCS was designated a top public school charter school by Education Insider this school year. We appreciate the support and partnership from TSD as a school of choice in Loveland and Berthoud. I'm excited to share this year that this year's graduating class has collectively been awarded $1.4 million in scholarship offers this year, including 2 Daniel Fund recipients. This is the most of any class at LCS this far. As examples, we have students attending GCU, CSU, St. John's, and Benedictine College, all with full ride scholarships. We have students attending schools at Hillsdale, GCU, CSU, University of Nebraska, BYU, and many more. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Brett. I'm a senior at LCS, and I'm entering into Benedictine College in the fall. I'm considering entering into their ROTC program, and I was awarded the $200,000 ROTC scholarship. In addition to these scholarships that Rachel just listed from our graduating class, we also have a senior who will be moving out to Georgetown and working on the Georgetown Loop as a brakeman for their train system. A senior who has won a Lockheed Martin internship and will work with their company over the summer, and a senior who will be attending Purdue University's cybersecurity program, a top 5 program in the nation. I'm also excited to share about our senior theses, which wrapped up a few weeks ago. This is a long year-long project resulting in a 20-page paper, a 5 to 10 minute presentation, and 20 minutes of questioning and examination on their topic, with topics on what is the good life, ranging from perfection is the standard, failure is the process, where true roots develop, friendship, growth, and change, the bounds of moral obligation, an Aristotelian perspective on the virtue of creativity. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bentley.
And my name is Susie.
We are 8th grade students and will be presenting on extracurricular activities at LCS. Middle school and high school clubs include math lab, fencing, mock trial, chess, poetry, crochet, robotics, wrestling, speed and quickness, yearbook, science bowl, spelling bee, battle of the books, National Honor Society, drama club, and magical singers. We have a robust dramatics arts program. We put together 3 to 4 dramatics productions annually. Our fall play, magical dinner, winter play, and spring play usually include students in the 6th through 12th grades. We include a musical into the rotation every 3 to 4 years.
Our music program achieved many distinctions this year. We had 2 students participate in the High School League Honor Orchestra. We had 4 students selected for the High School League Honor Band. Further, we had 7 students selected for the Middle School League Honor Orchestra and 5 students selected for the Middle School League Honor Band, and 2 students selected for the CU Boulder Middle School Honor Band. And in our choir program, we had 5 high school all-state choir participants this year, as well as 3 middle school all-state choir participants. One of our middle school all-state singers was highlighted as an outstanding vocalist and sang in a small ensemble during the final concert. I am also happy to share that our middle school Battle of the Books 7th and 8th grade team won first place within the district. Finally, our high school mock trial team made it to the state championship. We received the Most Professional Team Award, and we were also the recipients of 2 Outstanding Attorney Awards and an Outstanding Witness Award.
My name is Abby, and I am a senior at Loveland Classical School, and I will be attending Hillsdale College with a pre-med major in the fall. I will be presenting on this year's student athletics updates. In the middle school, the LCS Middle School Boys Cross Country were NCIL League champions this year and last year. Our middle school boys soccer were the NCIL League champions this year and last year. Our middle school girls soccer team were the NCIL League champions this year and last year, while our middle school girls basketball were NCIL League semifinalists. And our middle school boys basketball have been NCIL League champions every year since the 2022 season. In the high school, LCS boys cross country were the 2A state meet 5th place team, and our girls cross country team were the 2A state meet 7th place team. Our girls volleyball program were Foothills League's runner-up and state regional qualifiers. Our boys basketball were Foothills League champions in 2024, state qualifiers finalists in 2025, and league semifinalists this year. The girls basketball team were Foothills League champions and state qualifiers, ranked 13th headed into state playoffs. LCS boys soccer were Foothills League champions in 2023, 2024, and league runner-up in 2025. They have also qualified for state playoffs since 2022. And our high school girls soccer have been Foothills League champions for the past 2 years. They were 2A state champions in 2025 and state quarterfinalists in 2026.
Hello, TSD Board of Education and Superintendent Heller. My name is Grayson. I'm in 7th grade at LCS, and I will be presenting on leadership opportunities and achievements. In the middle school this year, we had approximately 40 middle school mentees participating in our Lion's Mane program. This is a mentorship program for middle school students. Within this program, a select number of middle schoolers are paired up with high school students based on teacher recommendations. Within this program, our middle school students received assistance and confidence building in their time spent with high school mentor. The middle school house system continues to grow. This year, we implemented virtue integration lessons once a week during study hall with the objective of assisting middle schoolers to see how our foundational virtues play a role within our lives. House leaders worked with teachers to implement the new curriculum this year. In the high school, in the Lion's Mane program, we had approximately 40 high school mentors. High school students presented middle school mentees with assistance, organization, homework, social/peer interactions, etc. Students met weekly with their mentees to support them. This was the 4th year at this program here at LCS. For the 4th year, the Student Council planned the field trip to Estes Park YMCA with the 8th and 9th graders. This trip helped to sprout growth and fostered community building between our middle school and high school in this off-campus weekend-long event. Students participated in team challenges, bonding, and friendship building. It was an awesome weekend. Our Student Council program is extremely robust with a high school program in charge of running and designing the Winter Craft Fair, Homecoming, and our Junior-Senior Gala.
We really thank you for the opportunity to share and for the opportunity to attend a school of choice within the Thompson School District. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Board, any questions for the students before you guys take off? We'll see if the board might have some questions for you. Lori, I'll start with you.
Thank you, President Boyd. I just want to commend you on how articulate each one of you are, every one of the grades here. Do you know what percentage of your seniors are receiving scholarships by any chance? And then I wanted to commend the young gentleman who's received the ROTC. I have 2 of them, out of 4 of my sister's children, 2 of them received ROTC scholarships. I know it's a tough road. So anything on the percentages?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about the percentage. I would probably guess around 90%. It's been pretty incredible. As all 3 of us are seniors, it's been really cool being able to see how much, it's specifically Mr. Phillips. He's our futures counselor. He works with us, and he's done a really great job working with us. And I think the majority of our grade have gotten a lot of college covered. So, and the majority of our class as well is planning to attend college. I think only maybe 3 of us aren't going to college. So,
Thank you very much.
All right. Nancy, any questions?
Not really a question, just I'm really impressed that this class received the most scholarships ever, 1.4 million. And how many total graduating seniors are at?
we're 37.
37.
Yeah.
37, 1.4 million for 37 high school seniors. That is impressive. And I also am so glad that the district offers so many different choices for our students, along with New Vision. We have the LISA program at Mountain View. We have many STEM and STEAM programs, IB, and I think choice is what makes it work for all students because they're all so different. So thank you for the presentation.
All right, thank you. Alexandra?
I don't have any questions, but thank you all for a very nice presentation. Good job.
Denise?
I was been wondering about the mentor program or mentee mentor program and how many hours did they spend together?
So basically, with teacher recommendations, one teacher will match up a middle schooler that might need help with some classes or just anything in general, and they'll match them up with a high schooler who might be able to help them with that. And this year there was around 40 middle schoolers and around 40 high schoolers that helped with it.
Dawn, question?
I just wanted to thank you for packing so much in such a small amount of time. That was a lot of information, but it was really a nice snapshot into so many different things that you're doing. And I want to say congratulations to you seniors. Nice work. And please pass that along to everybody else in your class.
All right. I'll close with a couple of questions, or I guess actually comments. I had the same question that Nancy did in regard to how many students are in your senior class. Is that number of students fairly typical of the 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade students at Loveland Classical? You may not know this.
It's not entirely typical. The number declines a bit from freshman to senior year. It has over the past few years, but this year is our biggest senior class yet.
It's the largest senior class this year. Is that what you said?
To my knowledge, it could be up there. Is it the largest, right? Yeah, it's the largest class.
So a class of 37 is the largest class you've had?
Yes.
All right, all right. Thank you. Dr. Heller, are we doing photos with these students, or what was the plan on this? All right.
You guys come around here.
As you guys are moving into place, normally when students present to us, we have a picture taken with the Board of Education, so that's just kind of common practice. All right, the next item on the agenda is 4.2, awards and recognition. And Dr. Heller, are you taking care of this for us tonight?
Yes, sir, I am. We have some awards and recognitions tonight I'm excited to share with you. We'll start off with our Thompson School District Elementary Robotics Tournament, which was held on April 24th at Loveland High School. We had approximately 175 students on 31 teams from across the district who participated. We want to thank more than 50 students, staff, and community volunteers for supporting this event. And tonight, I believe in the house, we have and are honoring the grand champions, the Big Thompson Robot Reactors. Yes? I'd like to invite coaches and the students to come up front. We're going to do a picture with all of you as well.
Dr. Heller, are they speaking to us, or is this just a picture? Okay, that's fine. Just wasn't cute. Sure.
You guys want to come around the front here?
Okay. All right, board. Let's assemble. All right, before we move on
Whoops,
to...
Sorry, I got more.
Oh,
I got
okay.
more.
All right.
Quite a bit more. All right.
Good.
This next one's an exciting one as well. So on April 28th, at the Denver Art Museum, the Colorado Department of Education formally recognized and celebrated the 2025 School and District Achievement Awardees from across the state. I was honored to receive the John Irwin School of Excellence Award on behalf of Coyote Ridge Elementary School. Wow. The John Irwin Awards are given to schools that demonstrate exceptional academic achievement over time. These schools received an exceeds expectation rating on the academic achievement indicator of the school performance frameworks, reflecting exceptional performance in math, English language arts, and science. Obviously, we want to say congratulations to the students, the families, and the staff at Coyote Ridge, and we have invited Dion Davis, the principal, and as many of his Coyote Ridge family as he could get here tonight to come to also get a picture with the board. So if we can ask all of you all to come up, we have an award for you. One more round of introductions and recognitions. We will not be doing photos. It's never easy when we have really good people like Deon Davis and John Flowers, some of these folks who leave us, but we do have some really good folks that we believe are really excited about joining the TSC family. So first, I'll introduce, and as I call your name, if you could make your way up to the podium so everybody can stare at you, and then we'll let you say a few words as well. First up is Luke Jones, the new principal for Coyote Ridge Elementary School. As everyone knows, Luke has been named the principal of Coyote Ridge Elementary School effective July 1. He will fill the position that is being vacated by Deon Davis, who is departing the district. Mr. Jones brings over a decade of experience in education, including 6 years as an elementary teacher, and he most recently served 4 years as an assistant principal at Bethkey Elementary in the Poudre School District. Mr. Jones and his family live in Loveland. Outside of school, he enjoys spending time outdoors with his wife and 3 young children. Mr. Jones holds a Bachelor of Arts degree and a Master's degree in music education, as well as a graduate certificate in educational leadership from Colorado State University. Please help me to welcome Luke Jones. Luke, want to say anything?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Heller, thank you so much. Over the past couple weeks, I've had a chance to interact with this amazing staff right here through some listening sessions, and I cannot stress enough how honored I am. They are completely collaborative. I feel like I'm talking directly to a very collaborative group that works very hard and dedicated for students, so I'm excited to work alongside them this next year. So, yes,
thank you.
So thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Next up is a somewhat familiar face for I think everybody, Adam Cohn, Turner Middle School. As you all know, Adam has held the interim position as principal for this school year, but has now been named the full-time, permanent, for a long, long time, principal of Turner Middle School, effective July 1. He previously served, as you know, as an assistant principal at Turner for the past 2 years prior to this, at Northridge High School in Greeley for 3 years, and he has an extensive career background in education, including work as a third-grade teacher, a high school counselor, and as a culture and climate coordinator. Mr. Cohn earned a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from the University of Colorado in Boulder. He also holds a master's degree in school counseling and human services from the University of Phoenix. Adam, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Heller. I want to thank you so much for recognizing me tonight as the new principal of Turner Middle School. It's an absolute honor to step into this role permanently and to have your trust as we lead our school forward. Having already worked alongside our fantastic students, staff, and families, I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to continue the great work we've already started here at Turner. I look forward to deepening our relationships and partnerships with the community, supporting our educators, and ensuring that every student who walks through our doors has the environment they need to thrive. Thank you for the opportunity and for your continued support and trust, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Next up, Monica Ramos Carlson, Bill Reed Middle School. Monica has been named the principal of Bill Reed Middle School, again, effective July 1. She will fill the position that is being vacated by John Kleiber, who is departing the district. Ms. Ramos Carlson currently serves as the Dean of Students at Bolts Middle School in the Poudre School District. She has worked as an administrator in both middle and elementary school settings since 2023. Before relocating to Colorado, she lived in Utah and served as a middle school and high school assistant principal in the Davis School District. She began her career in education as a school counselor and went on to serve as a district multi-tiered systems of support coach before transitioning to school leadership. Ms. Ramos Carlson earned her undergraduate degree in English education from Utah Valley and a Master of Science degree in psychology, as well as principal licensure from Utah State University. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, and Dr. Heller. It is such a privilege to have the opportunity to serve Bill Reed Middle School. I can't wait to get started. I've had the opportunity to interact and get to know some of the staff members, and am so excited to work alongside them, to meet our students in the fall, and I just can't wait to get started. So thank you so much for this privilege.
Thank you. And finally, I'm not sure, I didn't see, is Colleen Dodge in the building? All right, Colleen, come on forward. Colleen Dodge, Peakview Academy at Conrad Ball. Colleen Dodge has been named principal of Peakview Academy at Conrad Ball effective July 1. Ms. Dodge is currently serving as principal at Preston Middle School in Fort Collins, where her focus has been on strengthening instruction and building consistent systems across classrooms. Her career experience also includes service as an assistant principal at Altona Middle School in St. Vrain Valley and as an assistant principal at Wheat Ridge High School in Jeffco Public Schools. She started her career as a special education teacher working with students with significant support needs. Ms. Dodge earned an Associates of Arts and Sciences degree from Front Range, followed by a Bachelor of Arts in Special Education and Secondary Education from Metropolitan State University, and she holds a Master's of Science degree in Teaching and Learning from Colorado State University. Colleen, welcome.
Awesome. Good evening. Thank you, board presidents and members of the board and Dr. Heller. I also have had the opportunity to start meeting some of the staff and students over at Peakview at Conrad Ball, and I am just so excited to be a part of the community. It's been such a warm welcome, which has felt amazing, and I just can't wait to build on the great work that's already happening there, and then also take some of my strengths from my career and make it even better. So such an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. President, that's the end of my awards and recognitions for tonight.
All right. Agenda item 4.3 is an athletics and activities update. So I would invite Kevin Clark to come forward. And as Kevin is walking forward, I will just say that the board tonight has had plenty of opportunity to have our photo taken. If there's anybody present who would also like to have their photo taken with the board, now might be a good time, and if not, you could email me and we'll try to set up a special session. So thank you. Kevin, we'll turn it over to you.
You bet. Mr. President, Dr. Heller, members of the school board, thank you so much for having me this evening. Kevin Clark, Director of Athletics and Activities, and lots to celebrate. There is a lot of talent in this room. And just for the sake of time, Laura Lee, if you could just skip to the last slide. We are going to, so I wanted you guys to have the packet of celebrations, but when Stu talked about a lot of pictures here, we'll do one at the end with this group of special students that we're going to be recognizing. So first, if we could have from Mountain View High School, Andrew Willits come up here. And Andrew participated in FBLA and was the state champion in customer service. Any questions for Andrew?
Board, anything you'd like to ask Andrew? Andrew, are you working with any of the businesses in northern Colorado trying to beef up their customer service skills?
Yeah.
That's a wise guy question. Okay. You don't actually have to answer that. Congratulations.
I was going to ask if he was going to go to Excel Energy and give them a class on customer service.
Yeah.
Because they need
This is your first year. Yes. Sir. Yeah. Yeah. This is also his first year participating in FBLA. Yeah. If you'll hang out there, then we'll bring the next group up. Just stand right there. Yeah. And then next from Mountain View High School. A dual sport athlete this spring, but focus is swimming of JJ Phillips can come up here. And JJ was the state champion in the 100 freestyle. He also hit All-American recognition with that. Also qualified for the state track and field meet the following weekend. So he's been a busy young man, and he will graduate and be off to George Washington in the fall. So any questions for JJ?
Board, any questions or comments?
I have a question. Will you be swimming and doing track at George Washington, or just one or the other? Swimming. Just swimming?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And next, if we could have Caitlin Kellogg and the Loveland High School Winter Guard come up, and we'd like to honor them for their Color Guard State Championship. Took place at DU, and Coach Kellogg is here with her squad, and anything you'd like to speak about on the season or any questions from the board?
Hi, my name is Caitlin Kellogg, and I am the Director of Guards at Loveland High School. Thank you all so much for recognizing us. This is our first state championship since, I believe, 2013 in the Winter Guard. This is my second year at the school, so we're excited to see what the future holds. And we're very, very proud of them. It was a small but mighty group, so thank you.
All right. Board questions or comments for the Color Guard? All right. Many congratulations to you as well.
And next is fresh off of the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we had this. So these recognitions were tossed in here not knowing what was going to happen. But if we could bring up our Berthoud High School boys 4x800 meter relay. So if Eric, Jacob, Ben, and Aiden can come up here. They set the tone for probably all of Thompson School District Thursday by winning the 4x800 relay. So each young man ran 2 laps before they handed off, and ultimately Aiden anchored that to the state championship. So as we're talking about Berthoud and Aiden, maybe step up here a little bit. Aiden also the following day won probably one of the most exciting races at the state track meet, and went down leaning at the line, actually fell down with the competitor that was second, and he was the state champion at 800 meters. Aiden will be graduating, and I thought I heard maybe a change of plans, maybe UCCS to run track and field. So yeah, any questions for this group of young men?
Questions or comments, board? I just have a comment. As Berthoud's member of the board and a longtime member of the Berthoud High School faculty, I have this to say to you guys: go Spartans.
Go Spartans. Go Spartans.
We did have a state champion at Loveland High School in the discus. Unfortunately, their track and field banquet is this evening. So Ashton Daly was unable to make it, but he's a junior. We get him back for one more year. So yeah, hopefully we're back in this situation. If we could have Sophia Sig come up here as well. Sophia is a sprinter from Berthoud High School. Won the state championships at 200 and 400 meters. Sophia is a very talented athlete, great basketball player as well. And we found out today, CHSAA named her the 3A Track and Field Athlete of the Year. So Sophia Sig, yeah.
All right. Comments, questions from the board for Sophia? Yeah, all right, Sophia, I've already said go Spartans, so I won't do that again, but congratulations to you as well.
Yeah, and we get Sophia back for one more year, so yeah, excited to see what she can do next year as well. And then Madeline Clark from Mountain View, she was a state champion on Friday at 800 meters. She had the fastest times of all classifications, 1A through 5A, and she'll compete this summer in the U.S. Under-20 Championships. And yeah, special to me as this is my daughter. So there you go. Yeah.
Kevin, what's the event again?
So she'll be competing in the USA Under-20 national meet.
And at the state track meet, she competed in?
The 800, the 1600, and the 4x800. Yeah.
All right, board comments or questions?
Yeah.
I'll just say, I just want to say congratulations, and I know a lot of times with extracurricular activities, whether it be sports or other things, balancing your academics can be sometimes a challenge. So I just want to say thank you for pressing forward.
All right, stand there.
Congrats.
I have to also just say real quick, Madeline, nice shoes. Love the shoes. And I do want to know, at what age were you able to beat Dad in a race? Really young, I imagine?
I think she clipped me in a turkey trot like 3 years ago. Right. So yeah. And then as we are finishing, wrapping up, talking about track and field, if Coach Blaine Voth and his track staff who are present can come up here through the weekend. And again, on the shoulders of Sophia Sig, they were able to bring home the state runner-up trophy. And so Bertha finished second to a very talented Classical Academy group. And they have the trophy. Oh, yeah. That's the best part. Yeah. So, yeah. So make sure we get that highlighted. Yeah. Yeah.
And turn it around so that the folks in the audience can see it as well. Cool. Comments or questions here? Congratulations.
And our last recognition that we would do is if we could ask longtime educator and coach Paul Corey to come up here. We received exciting news this school year when Coach Corey, who is a retired educator from TSD, was inducted into the CHSAA Hall of Fame. And Coach Corey, his track and field career, state championships at 3 high schools, Battle Mountain, Middle Park, and he won 5 state championships at Loveland High, 3 on the girls' side, 2 on the boys' side. But again, the ultimate motivator of young people and a lifelong teacher, Paul Corey. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'll just say it was a great honor of my life and privilege to coach and teach in this district and be sharpened alongside coaches like Coach Clark. So I enjoyed every second of it. I can't quit. I worked today. So
Congratulations. Board, comments or questions for the coach? All right. Thank you.
All right, so with that, like I said, incredibly talented group of young people, if we could do one picture with you guys, that would be great.
Should we do that right now?
Oh, you're part of it?
Good luck getting everybody in this picture.
Yeah.
Come on around, guys.
Okay. Keep coming down, guys. Keep coming down. Okay, are you ready? Let's see what we can do here. Okay, on 3, 1, 2, 3. Great. Good. Yep. Good. Thank you. All right. Yep.
All right. Agenda item 4.4 is public comment. Dawn, if you'd like to read the introduction to this part of the meeting.
Because the board wants to hear the viewpoints of the public and also needs to conduct its business in an orderly and efficient manner, it will schedule time during its regular board meetings for brief comments and questions from the public. The board will set a time for public participation prior to the business portion of the meeting. The time for each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes, and each individual will only be recognized once. If there is a large number of speakers, the board may elect to take comments for 1 hour before the business meeting and conclude public comment after the business meeting. Public comments and questions at a regular meeting may deal with any topics related to the board's conduct of the schools. Speakers may offer such criticism of school operations and programs as concerns them, but are encouraged to exercise their speech rights responsibly. Speaker remarks should be suitable for an audience that includes kindergarten through 12th grade students. Personnel matters will be discussed in executive session. Finally, as a reminder to all present, the board and staff do not respond to public comment. This is our opportunity to hear from students, parents, and patrons. The board may discuss public comments later in the agenda or on future agendas. First up, we have Ollie Gibbons, and your timer is going to come up on the screen that'll show when you're getting close to time.
On the screen. Oh, thank you. Good evening, Mr. President, Board of Directors, and Dr. Heller. My name is Ollie Gibbons. I'm a senior, or incoming senior, at Loveland High School, and I'm speaking today not only for myself, but as a voice for all of Loveland High School and our band program. When I was a freshman at Loveland High, the only community I had was founded through the band program, and that community has become a found family for me, as you see here. That would not have been possible without the combined efforts of Michael Williams and Kyle Friesen. Their teamwork is the reason our marching band is consistently in the top 3 at state, the reason our jazz programs are among the highest ranked in our state, and the reason that our concert bands represent the level of excellence that Red Rolls strive to achieve. Oh, I lost it. Hold on. The two of them make our band program, and frankly, the good reputation of our school possible. Michael Williams, especially, is an essential part of our community. Without him, our nationally ranked indoor percussion group would not exist. Without him, our Jazz 2 program that I'm part of would not have received the rating it did of excellent at our UNC Jazz Fest this year. It's hard to miss the importance of his efforts for our band program. He runs brass sectionals when Friesen is working with the woodwinds, and he teaches, Mr. Williams teaches every level of percussionists so that all of them can be the best that he knows they're capable of. He makes sure that every student, whether he teaches them personally or not, knows that they have a home with him and within our program. Without him, without Mr. Williams, and despite Friesen's impressive capabilities, our band program and the safe space that it has become for so many students and families alike would suffer a dramatic setback and loss. I encourage you to reconsider and take into account the impact that you can have. Thank you.
Next up, Timmy Vanderwall.
Alrighty. There it is. Okay. Hello, Board of Directors. My name is Timmy Vanderwall. I am a senior, so incoming college freshman, going up to New York next year. Also speaking about about Michael Williams and his position. I just wanted to start by saying, in your mission statement, and as is on the wall right there, it is your duty and goal to empower students, challenge to achieve, and inspire to excel. No one else exemplifies that better than Mr. Michael Williams. He has pushed me personally to be just the best version of myself I can be as a person, as a player in his ensembles, and just all around has improved my life and my abilities exponentially. He has incredible accolades himself. He has been given instruction by Dr. Hollenbeck from CSU, Shiloh Stroman, also from CSU, and has taken world-class drum corps to finals and in like Dayton, Ohio, from here to Dayton. I'm much less prepared than my previous friend, but I'm trying. Yes, I just want to end with I would not be where I am today and would not be where I'm going today if it wasn't for the community that Michael Williams has built and for his efforts and his impact in my life. So yes, please reconsider that choice as well. Thank you.
Alyssa Gibbons.
Good evening, Mr. President, Board, Superintendent Heller. I'm speaking today as a band parent. I have two students in the Loveland High School band and orchestra programs. And I think many of us are here tonight because we're concerned about what we have learned about staffing assignments for many of the arts and language and specialist teachers at Loveland High, including Mr. Williams, Mr. Friesen, Mr. Smith in the orchestra program, and several others. We understand that the district is in a dire financial situation and that difficult decisions need to be made. My hope as a parent and a community member is that you as the board will always act to prioritize and direct building leadership to prioritize maintaining the quality of education that our students receive. We are concerned that the current staffing plans are working against that goal by taking highly credentialed, highly experienced, expert specialized staff out of the specialties they were hired to teach and redirecting them into study halls and administrative functions. I think, as you well know, the Loveland High School music programs involve more than 10% of the student body. So the reach of these educators is tremendous. In the bands, orchestra, and other music programs, as well as the arts and language and similar programs at Loveland High, our students are learning exactly the career, college, and life readiness skills that you all have prioritized. They are learning responsibility, they are learning accountability, they are learning teamwork, and so much more. Our music programs consistently achieve a level of excellence that is on par with or that exceeds far better resourced schools in far better resourced districts, and that is entirely because of the expertise and dedication of Mr. Friesen, Mr. Williams, Mr. Smith, and the other staff. Our students have learned to strive for and have attained excellence because of them and their work. As their records clearly demonstrate, these are world-class educators. Taking their time and energy away from the programs they have built to serve other functions is fundamentally a cut in resources to these programs and one that directly impacts the quality of the educational experience for our students. If our district wishes to retain world-class educators, attract further world-class educators, and encourage the development of future world-class educators among our current staff, it needs to respect their expertise and recognize the extraordinary effort that they already exert. I hope that the board and Loveland High School leadership will take the time to listen to these exceptional staff about the resources they need to maintain their success. Thank you very much.
Tommy Roberts Davis.
Hello, it's good evening to you all. I am relatively new to the Loveland High School band experience. My son is an early start and his middle school experience was not great. We were looking at pulling him from the Thompson School District until we've had Mr. Friesen come up and say, hey, I have this thing. You're a really great musician. I want to pull you in. And that has been the most amazing thing that has happened to my son. My son is a percussionist, so Mr. Michael Williams is one of the educators that he works with the most. But the most important part that I think I first off wanted to say is that I am very grateful for the program that you guys helped develop and support so that I could see what it was like. And my kiddo could see what it was like and realize that band is amazing and he's not scared to go to Loveland High, which we choiced into out of Mountain View just so that we could stay with this program. Mr. Williams creates this amazing, inclusive, educational, artistic, rich environment that allows my kiddo to thrive. Not only in band, but it has helped him also like, oh, well, now I'm doing better in science and I'm doing better in math and I really have to pay attention to my grades because there's a thing like ineligibility. I'm like, yeah, everything kind of goes together in a circle. The other kids that are in his band as well as Mr. Williams are like, hey, are you doing your homework? How are you doing? Do you need help with that? So it becomes this big community where he feels very accepted. Mr. Williams and Mr. Friesen, they have both guided my son and helped him find his voice and find himself as a learner. He did his POL today for the IB program at Lucille Irwin. And it was cool projects and lots of science, and then band. And then cool projects, and then I read these books, and then band. And what am I going to do in the future? Oh, it's band. And he put pictures in there of the other people that he plays with, his other teammates, but mostly of Mr. Williams, because Mr. Williams holds him accountable. And I really want him to have the same amount of time and experience that has already existed of having that kind of pull, of having that kind of assistance and help. My concern is going to be the same of, under the proposed plan of span of control, maintaining meaningful individualized instruction and support for a program serving 130 students would not be feasible. Reassigning Mr. Williams' instruction time to supervise study hall rather than teach music, despite his deep experience in a percussionist and music educator, would severely limit the students' access to high-quality instruction. This represents a disservice to both program and the students it serves, depriving them of his specialized expertise and undermining the educational purpose of his position. I know that Mr. Friesen and Mr. Williams work as a team. I don't know how you would have the span of control of 130 kids all by yourself. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Sorry, I'm super nervous. I don't usually do this kind of speaking. But thank you for the program that you've developed. I'm just hopeful that we can find other options, such as maybe a delay in a year to do some data gathering.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Deb Sprague.
Good evening, all. That was quite a crowd today. I had no idea we were going to follow all these amazing awards. So thank you for your patience this evening. Hello, my name is Deb Sprague. I'm a Loveland resident. And I was here and spoke at the superintendent's first meeting last year, actually. So it seems like this will be an annual thing for me. When I was here last year, I was speaking about my granddaughter. Her story is not very different from a lot of other young people. She lives with her other grandmother, choosing at age 9 to attend a small public rural school versus her larger school, city school. Amira, who's my granddaughter, asked for this in part to avoid some of the chaos that was happening in her mother's home. More importantly, Amira found that school offered her a place to feel welcomed. Her hard work would be noticed, she'd be honored for her academics, her solo musical performances, and school engagement. I'm proud to say that Amira graduated with honors this past Sunday, receiving scholarships and grants, and will now be attending Union College. Her sights are now set on a 5-year master's program as an occupational therapist. Amira's story is one of resilience and acceptance, both of herself and her amazing public school. Public schools are essential and foundational to our society, a place where history should stand as truth, without censorship, without false interpretation, where young people are offered a space to learn and grow, to negotiate, a world where we should and must honor individual talents and choices. Amira has continued and expressed herself in art and music and engaging in community activism. She continues to explore her sexual orientation, and at the age of 18 is a very happy and healthy young person. Her declaration to her grandfather and I at the age of 14 that she thought she might be gay or bisexual never negatively impacted her school experience. Her community, her words, and the faculty at school have welcomed all students to be their true selves, honoring names the students choose and attending prom with dates of their choosing. No stigma, no harsh religious judgments, only acceptance, honoring, and welcoming. Public school staff must maintain their role as educators without bias, without favor for certain religious beliefs, race, gender, or sexual orientation. Public schools must not bend to the will of a few who wish to stigmatize our youth and promote othering students who don't conform to particular belief systems. We are a nation where prejudice, unfortunately, has found renewed energy in that regard. Public schools must not, should not, and shall not participate in any actions that are not welcoming or accepting to all students and their families. I thank you for your service and your time.
Hello, my name is Joanna Johnson. I am a Loveland resident and a current TSD parent. I am calling regarding your proposed high school policy changes. Policy JHCA eliminates open blocks for 9th and 10th graders and replaces them with study halls that effectively warehouse students rather than support meaningful learning. This pulls teachers out of classrooms and into supervisory roles while reducing the students' access to fresh air and movement. Policy IKF introduces a mandatory year-long freshman seminar, adding new staffing and scheduling demands at a time when schools are already stretched thin. This is the wrong moment for sweeping policy changes. First, the district must address existing challenges, staffing shortages, budget strain, teacher furloughs, and compensation issues that are already undermining retention and morale among our greatest resource, our teachers. Your policy changes risk misallocating some of our strongest educators. For example, Michael Williams, one of the most accomplished music educators in the Rocky Mountain region, could be pulled from the classroom into supervisory roles, while increasing the burden on Kyle Friesen, who is directing the region's premier music program. How is this in alignment with what you claim in your negotiation process? Quote, the district will continue emphasizing its mission, culture, support for employees, and professional growth opportunities to promote staff engagement and retention, end quote. I urge you, please reconsider, strengthen what is working, resolve current gaps, and ensure any future changes are fully supported before making extensive changes. Even well-intentioned policy fails when it outpaces staffing, funding, and planning. P.O. Box 7062, Loveland, Colorado 80537.
Good evening, my name is Elizabeth Newton, and I'm a grandmother of 3 TSD high school students. Email eanewton2013@gmail.com. I want to speak tonight about a pattern that is becoming increasingly difficult for families to understand. Directors Global Rumpelt frequently speak about parental involvement and insist that parents must be the primary decision makers for their children. But when it comes to actual policy decisions, that principle seems to shift depending on the issue. A recent example was the Week of the Young Child. Director Global declined to have her name included on a proclamation because, in her words, public schools should empower and support families, not gradually replace them. Yet now, when the district has proposed a reasonable classroom-level approach to cell phone use, one that allows teachers to manage their own learning environments and allows parents to guide their own children, these same board members are pushing for a blanket ban for all students. So, I'm left wondering, which is it? Do parents know best, or do they only know best when it aligns with these certain board members' personal beliefs? A universal ban removes decision-making from both parents and teachers. It tells parents they cannot be trusted to guide their own children's phone use. It tells teachers they cannot be trusted to manage their own classrooms. That is not parental empowerment. That is not local control, and it is not consistent governance. This inconsistency is not limited to cell phone discussion. I have formally requested multiple times since November that Board President Boyd issue a clear statement affirming that this board is non-sectarian, as required by the Colorado Constitution and by your own policies. I have not received any response. Silence on the matter is fundamental as constitutional obligation to remain non-sectarian only deepens the concern that principles are being applied selectively. So I'm asking this board to explain how it squares its public messaging about parental rights with actions that remove authority from parents and educators, and how it squares its silence on non-sectarian governance with its stated commitment to serving all families and becoming a destination district. Look forward to your response. Thank you.
This is May Soracelli Albrecht of Berthoud. As a parent, I am speaking on behalf of the proposed cell phone policy for the schools and with children currently enrolled in the school district. I do support having a clear personal technology device policy in our schools. I understand teachers need the ability to maintain focus in the classroom and reduce distractions caused by unlimited cell phone use during instructional time. Right now, many teachers are expected to manage that challenge without a consistent policy to support them. At the same time, there is another very real concern that many parents share: fear about what is happening in schools and the need to maintain communication with our children for safety reasons. Whether it's an emergency or lockdown, a family situation, or simply peace of mind, parents do not want students completely cut off from communication throughout the school day. Because of that, I believe there's a reasonable middle ground. Students should be allowed to keep devices on silent and in their pockets during the school day. Teachers should have the authority to address disruptions when phones are being misused, but enforcement should begin with the warning system. If a student continues to use a device inappropriately, then confiscation during that class period is reasonable. However, the device should be returned immediately after class ends rather than held for the entire day. This approach supports classroom focus while also respecting student safety and parent communication concerns. I'm also not in favor of each individual school creating its own separate policy. Families and staff really need consistency across the district, so expectations are clear, fair, and enforceable for everyone. Ultimately, I thank each of you for considering these safety concerns as well as the welfare and ability for our students to focus in the classroom. Thank you so much.
My name is Greg Johnson. I reside in Fort Collins, Colorado. My topic is about the Loveland High School Band Program. Good afternoon, TSD leadership and TSD Board of Education members. My name is Greg Johnson, and my wife and I are proud parents of a graduating senior and rising sophomore at Loveland High School. We are a military family who retired 2 years ago after over 27 years in the Air Force. During our military time, our daughters moved 6 times and attended 6 different schools by the age of 13 and 10 respectively, with our last assignment bringing us to this area. We experienced both great school districts and ones that are in trouble. The Loveland High School Band Program reconnected my oldest with the love of her French horn and provided her with the musical development she needed while surrounded by a supportive band community that literally saved her life through her darkest and most severe obsessive compulsive disorder bouts. This was made possible by the leadership and time dedicated to each student by talented band director and assistant band director, building a strong supportive culture enabling all their students to grow, develop, and be resilient for our Loveland community and beyond. Through my time in the TSD Leadership Academy, I understand the budget strain TSD is under and the decision needing to be made. However, programs like band and other arts programs seem to be easy targets. The Loveland High School Band Program is not just sitting in a chair playing music. Time dedicated by the directors has led to 68 superior and excellent ratings in jazz and concert ensembles, 3 Colorado State Marching Band Championships, 5 Bands of America Class Championships, 2 State Winter Guard Championships, 4 Percussion State Silver Medals, and hundreds of students selected for honor bands under Mr. Friesen and Mr. Williams. A 75% reduction is in specific FTE allotted for marching band and 100% removal of co-teaching support for concert band and guard percussion ensembles leads to less feedback and development and leaves one teacher responsible for over 130 marching band students, equating to over 1,300 assessments between day 1 of school and the end of October, an incredible workload. This does not meet TSD's Strive 2025 strategic plan and vision of creating the most impactful learning conditions, enabling students to reach their full potential, and TSD being a destination of choice. While tough decisions are made at high school leadership levels, I ask the board to ask for data and feedback on the education environment when teachers are reduced in teaching specialty capacity and put in freshman seminar study hall sessions. Ask for feedback and data on the benefits of Dr. Heller and Sarah Rasmussen's proposal requiring 2-semester freshman seminars. I'm concerned this requirement adds yet another staffing and scheduling challenge impacting programs like the LHS Band Program. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comments, and thank you for your leadership. Please contact me at 856-296-5229.
My name is Taryn Hybeck. It's Taryn, last name Hy, B like boy, ECK. I am a Loveland resident. My son Eric Hybeck is a student at Loveland High School and a member of the Crimson Regiment Marching Band. My message is in regards to the FTE allotment to the arts programs at Loveland High School. I do appreciate the responses I got from the members of the board and the superintendent who replied to my email. The concern I want to voice is the cutting of an FTE to the music program while requiring students to take a music program increases the difficulty and decreases the benefits of the program. In addition, Michael Williams specifically, as the Associate Director of the band, whose FTE would be in consideration to be cut, is my son's #1 mentor and a critical member for the band, specifically. Michael has taken an overly introverted student and helped him to thrive in the environment. It is critical that we do not lose Michael, as his level of expertise and passion for music will make him an amazing benefit to another program and an incredible loss to Loveland High School. I can be reached at 970-310-0781 if needed. Thank you.
All right, and that concludes public comment. We'll move on now to agenda item number 5, which is the superintendent's report.
Okay, a couple items for me this meeting. So first, we celebrated as Thompson School District National Teacher Appreciation Week from May 4th through May 8th. As you know, I gave everybody a snow day in celebration of that honor. Just joking. The commemorative week was created as an opportunity for students, families, and community members to recognize the educational professionals for their service and dedication. As part of this year's celebration, TSD invited students and family members to nominate a favorite teacher to be recognized on social media. The district also posted fun videos featuring teachers sharing their favorite memories. Many of our schools also honored teachers in special ways throughout the week. A huge thank you goes out to all of our amazing teachers and instructional staff throughout the district. Next up, National School Nurses Day was May 6th. I think, as many of you know, our school nurses show up for our students every single day. They handle everything from everyday care to urgent situations, all while making students feel safe, seen, and supported. Whether it's a quick check-in or ongoing care, they make a real difference in helping students stay healthy and ready to learn. To our school nurses, thank you for the compassion that you bring to our schools. We appreciate you more than you know. Recently, I met with my elementary, middle, and high school student advisory committees for the final time this school year. The high school advisory committee, as you know, wrapped up its work and met with the Board of Education on May 13th. Their 2 final projects included a focus on fostering freshman success in the high schools, as well as additional programming opportunities to further empower our low-income students. Throughout the year, students from all 3 groups shared valuable feedback and insights on district and school processes and gave us input on policies along the way. The input we received from these groups is incredibly helpful and plays an important role in guiding our work, and honestly was often the highlight of every month, spending time with that group. On Friday, April 24th, the district safety and security team hosted an all-day training for staff from across the district, featuring live drills, tabletop scenarios, and educational sessions. The goals of the training were to empower all TSD staff to increase knowledge in crisis response and strengthen emergency procedures. Thank you to all of the community partners, Loveland Police, Larimer County Sheriff's Office, Banner Health, and Thompson Valley EMS. Thank you to a couple of our board members who participated for the entire day in the entire activity. And thank you obviously to our safety and security team for all the things that they did to make that day a success. I also want to wish some congratulations to Loveland High School for being named the 9 News Cool School of the Month. 9 News crew broadcast live from the campus of Loveland High on Thursday, May 14th, starting at 5:30 a.m. I would make sure to go and check out the reels on Thompson School District social media accounts so you can see highlights from that morning. Students, staff, and the entire community did an outstanding job representing LHS in the spotlight. I do want to really focus on the fact that one of the big parts of that was a group of our students who built furniture for the landing, which is a project and a thing that we've had going in partnership for many, many years. The students were so proud and so excited to do this work to really give back to their own peers at the landing, and the furniture they built was amazing. It was a fantastic just opportunity for collaboration between our kids and that program. On May 14th at the District Admin Center, we held our final Thompson Leadership Academy session of the school year. That session focused on opportunities for those community members to become more involved in the school district. As you all know, the Academy is a unique 7-month program designed to connect community members with important work and service of the district. Through the monthly sessions, participants gained an inside look at the district's programs, daily operations, funding, and more. And a special thanks goes to all who participated in this year's Academy. I think we've even got a few of them that are maybe now interested in running for board someday. So it's always a benefit. On May 14th, we had the opportunity to honor the graduates of Project Search at Banner Health Medical Center. We are super proud of these graduates, and it was an emotional time to see these kids. These students have truly built a community, that group of kids that is part of that Project Search group. They are a group of young adults who have disabilities in the ages of 18 to 21 who work at that Banner Health Medical Center to earn and learn competitive employment skills. They develop transferable, marketable skills while gaining valuable hands-on experience in a real-world work environment. So I wanted to say congratulations to those Project Search graduates. And of course, finally, congratulations to all of our 2026 graduates who will be walking across the stage starting on Friday.
Thank you, Dr. Heller. We'll move now to agenda item 6, which is the action consent items. Let me begin by reading the list. 6.1, approval of minutes for a regular meeting April 15, 2026. 6.2, approval of minutes for a special meeting April 30, 2026. 6.3, approval of minutes for a study session May 13, 2026. 6.4, approval of personnel extra duty coaching recommendations. 6.5, approval of expenditures over $50,000. 6.6, approval of the Head Start Community Assessment. 6.7, approval of the Loveland Police Department and Larimer County Sheriff's Office School Resource Officer Intergovernmental Agreement. 6.8, approval of the proclamation recognizing National Teacher Appreciation Week. 6.9, approval of settlement and release agreement and resolution of claims filed in case number 2025 CV 30681. And finally, 6.10, approval of superintendent unused vacation days for 2025-2026. Board members, would you like any of these items pulled from the action consent list?
President Boyd, I'd like to pull item 6.8, please.
All right. Request to pull item 6.8. Request to pull anything else. All right. So item 6.8 will become item 7.6 in the discussion action list. And in terms of its effect on this list that I just read, number 6.9, approval of settlement and release agreement and resolution of claims filed in the case number that I read previously, will become 6.8. And the approval of superintendent unused vacation days for 2025-2026 will become 6.9. Any other items requested to be pulled? All right, in which case then I would entertain a motion to accept and approve the action consent items.
So moved.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Laura Lee, would you call the roll, please?
Stu Boyd,
Aye.
Denise Chapman,
Aye.
Lori Goebel,
Aye.
Don Kirk,
Aye.
Alexandra Lessem,
Aye.
Nancy Rumpfelt.
Aye.
All right, thank you. And that passed 6-0. So we will move now to the general section 7, which is discussion action items. And we will begin with 7.1, which is the approval of second read policy IKF graduation requirements.
Good evening, Mr. President, Dr. Heller, members of the board. Sarah Rasmussen, Assistant Superintendent of Learning Services. And for the second reading of IKF, what we wanted to highlight is that after the board study session, we did make some changes. And those changes were around having a table that was put in there that could speak to the graduates that would not apply to the policy that we put forward. So we wanted to make sure that we made that revision, as well as removing and editing the verbiage that went along with the 23 credits to receive a Thompson School District diploma. So those were the edits that we made, but we want to see if you have any other questions.
All right. Board questions, beginning with Dawn. Denise? Alexandra?
I don't have a question. I still think the sentence about the 23 credits is a little weird and confusing. But we'll go with it and see how, if other people are confused too, then maybe we can edit it. But if it's just me, then that we're good.
All right. Nancy?
No, I think this is a good move in making the Thompson High School diploma actually have a lot more value.
Lori?
I'm going to steal a phrase from Dr. Heller to keep the bar high.
All right.
Thank you for your work on this.
I don't have any questions or comments. If there are no other questions or comments from the board, I would entertain a motion then regarding agenda item 7.1.
So moved. I move to approve the graduation requirements.
All right.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Lorley, did you get those? All right. Any further discussion? We'll proceed then to the vote. Please call the roll.
Stu Boyd,
Aye.
Denise Chapman,
Aye.
Lori Goebel,
Aye.
Don Kirk,
Aye.
Alexandra Lessem,
Aye.
Nancy Rumpfelt.
Aye.
All right. The total was 6 in favor, 0 against, so that motion passes. We'll move now to discussion action item 7.2, which is approval of second read retirement exhibit of IKF-E graduation requirements for graduating classes 2016 through 2020.
Board members, we did not make any changes to that. There wasn't any feedback after the study session.
All right. We'll have an opportunity for questions then, beginning with Denise.
No questions.
Alexandra?
No.
Nancy? Lori?
No questions.
Dawn?
No, I move that we approve the deletion of this.
I have no questions either. If there is no further discussion, let's proceed then to a motion regarding discussion action item 7.2.
So moved.
A second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Laura Lee, please call the roll.
Who was the motion by?
Dawn.
Stu Boyd,
Aye.
Denise Chapman,
Aye.
Lori Goebel,
Aye.
Don Kirk,
Aye.
Alexandra Lessem,
Aye.
Nancy Rumpfelt.
Aye.
All right, that motion passes 6-0. We'll move then to discussion action item 7.3, which is approval of second read policy JHCA, open closed campus.
We did make a revision to this based off of the information that we received, the feedback on Wednesday last week. The revision that we made was regarding the verbiage around attendance. And so we did make that revision so that what we stated instead is that we will review open block eligibility. So hopefully that addresses your concerns.
All right. Proceeding to questions, and we'll begin with Alexandra this time.
Yes, it does. I appreciate that change. So I think it's good. Thank you.
Nancy?
I would like to clear up or maybe clarify this policy, and I've read it more than once. I don't see where it's creating study halls. I simply see where it says grades 9 and 10, they have to maintain a full academic schedule, meaning classes, not study hall. And that 11th and 12th, they can have an open block, but again, my understanding is the open block is not it's not a study hall. It's something for the student to use as they see necessary for how they want to study, get extra help. So could you just confirm that this is not creating study halls?
Correct. This policy does not state anything about those removing the open blocks, that they are being replaced with study halls. That is not the intent of this.
Okay, thank you.
If I could I'll just add, the intent is that kids have a full schedule. Undoubtedly, there will be some students who do choose to who ask for a study hall, who may request a study hall instead of having an open block. But there is not all open blocks go away and study halls are added. Our goal is that these kids are adding courses that they're interested in to their schedule and have a full academic course load. But we also wouldn't take away the opportunity for a student who wanted a study hall, a structured study hall, to have one on their schedule. We don't want them to fill their schedule with study halls. We want them to be taking the classes they should be taking as freshmen.
And I'm guessing that you guys would be monitoring if some student said, hey, I'm going to do 3 study halls. That's what, okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Lori?
I want to thank Director Rumfeld for that clarification and for Dr. Heller and also for your clarification on that. And I do believe that cleared up some questions that were raised earlier this evening. So thank you for that explanation.
All right. Dawn?
I just want to throw the monkey wrench in because I think that a lot of the feedback we've been getting of calling things study halls is about our decision around freshman seminar. People are calling freshman seminar a study hall when that is not at all what's been presented or recommended. And so I'm not entirely sure that this decision had anything to do with the feedback we've been getting about that, because this isn't the decision on freshman seminar. This is the decision simply around making sure that we don't have most of our students taking open periods when it's not helpful. And so I'm glad that we are cleaning this up. I think that the fact that we found out that there was a shocking amount of 9th and 10th graders who had these open periods that weren't getting the supports they needed or access to classes when they probably would use that time really wisely if they had just gotten, like a policy that backs it up so that we're helping to give them different guidance. I think this is going to help us to guide kids more effectively through the process. So I appreciate this. And I just wanted to throw that out there because I do want to make sure that we're not confusing and conflating two things that are very different.
All right. Denise?
No questions.
And I don't have any questions either. So board, regarding agenda item 7.3, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Let's proceed to the vote then. Lauralee?
Stu Boyd.
Aye.
Denise Chapman.
Aye.
Lori Goebel.
Aye.
Don Kirk.
Aye.
Alexandra Lessem.
Aye.
Nancy Rumpel.
Aye.
And again, the vote is 6-0 in approving that motion. We'll move now to agenda item 7.4, approval of second read policy JICJ, student use of cell phones and other personal technology devices.
We also made some changes to this particular policy based off of feedback that we heard. Very specifically, We adjusted the language under expectations for use, and this was in the classroom setting, so bullet point number 2, because we wanted to make sure that it was very clear that any sort of personal technology devices that are being used in the classroom are, one, teacher approved, and teacher approved because it has to do with a very specific learning activity. So we cleaned up that language and tightened it up in the policy.
All right. We'll move then to questions for 7.4. Nancy, beginning with you.
I think it's important for anyone that's maybe listening right now or later to understand that this policy is coming about because of a state law that requires us to do it. We didn't just, Dr. Heller just didn't say one day, gosh, I don't have enough to do. I'm going to do a cell phone policy now. So that's one thing. The other thing is, it's pretty clear that students can still maintain and keep their personal technology devices. They simply have to keep them put away, turned off, on silence. And the only time they can pull them out is if, as you said, the teacher has said clearly, this is part of the learning activity in the classroom. You know, I think the only ambiguity might be the between classing periods passing and lunchtime. That's still up to each school. But again, those are during the students' free time. So would I rather see them talking to each other? Sure. But I think this is our first pass at it. It might be that next year, halfway through, we say we really need to standardize that and say, no, they're all put away throughout the entire day, but this is a starting place.
Okay, Lori?
As when I ran for school board, this was one of the things that I really pushed about, was having respect in the classroom, respecting the teacher's time in the classroom for them to teach, and respecting the students' time to learn. And I actually believe that it should be more relying on the policy rather than having to rely on the teachers to police. And I think as I call it, the bell to bell, or, you know, put away all day, not saying that they can't have a device, but it is put away during the school day from beginning to end. I believe the policing of that would make it much, much easier instead of relying and putting the burden on the teachers to police that. I do believe this is, obviously, it is something that is or a state mandate that has brought us to this point with the state legislature. In talking with people about this, it is once again, and it's not taking away anybody's parental rights, just like when you go into any other, say, meeting, and they expect you to have your cell phones put away. It's no different than that. So I think making it easier on the teachers would go a long way to make this policy even stronger than what it is. I'm still a little bit ambivalent whether I'm going to fully support this, but it is definitely a step in the right direction. And I guess I would be in support of this if we can. I know Dr. Heller and I, we talked about keeping in touch with the teachers as far as how that is going to impact their workload. And maybe this is something that we actually truly do put on the calendar. I know we've been talking about what we're going to be talking about in the future, but maybe come October, after a couple of months, or November, or even very beginning of next year, how it went that first semester, and get the feedback from the teachers and staff and see how that truly affected them. Once again, I think it'd be easier to have a solid policy. The other concern was substitute teachers when they come in, that a lot of times if it's different at each school, maybe during passing periods or something of that nature, it makes it more difficult for them to help be part of, you know, what is expected at the school. And instead of being distracted by a ding on the phone or some notification, even during a passing period or lunchtime, that the students can focus on being there. So, thank you.
All right, Dawn?
I just really wanted to applaud this. I was grateful to read how clear the exceptions are and how thoughtful they are. And I really wanted to make sure I passed along something I said earlier today, which is that I really appreciate the thoughtfulness that went into writing a policy for 2026. I think that our obligation is to teach kids to live in the world that they live in, not the one that us adults used to live in. And the reality is that phones are ubiquitous, technology is ubiquitous. If we don't teach them how to use it responsibly, when and when not to, how to put it away, how to be respectful, then they won't learn it. And we see that with all zero tolerance policies that exist everywhere. The blowback is significantly worse than the problem we're trying to solve. And that is true repeatedly with everything that we've ever tried to prohibit. However, when we are able to teach why and how, and I think, as much as I did hear overwhelmingly from the people who really wanted to have a one-size-fits-all policy, and I appreciate that there are some legitimate concerns that have been shared in that we still need to support staff with, that are not addressed with this policy, but aren't necessarily part of this policy. They're part of a bigger challenge that we have as far as classroom management, engagement, when and how to integrate tools effectively, and really the overall feeling that we've been told by staff of how much support they're needing right now for the kids they have. We know that social media is part of that. The distraction that devices can be is significant, but it is also something I will never, ever, ever vote for a away all day policy. And there are two reasons for it that we can't address. And therefore, I'm really grateful for us writing a policy that does address it to the best of our ability. One is everything that's listed in exceptions. When we have policies that put away technology, when technology is how kids access their learning, it makes them more excluded when they need technology. More so today in this environment where one kid goes, why does that kid have their phone? Why does that kid get the device? Again, we're not creating an environment where one size fits all. We have some families that are very technology engaged and very high touch and very high engagement and very high communication and very high needs that happen inside and outside their school day. And we can't address that with one single policy. Our exceptions are too important. We're legally bound for most of them. We can't ignore those. But the other one, and again, this is why I will never be okay with it, is because it is a literal lifeline in the worst case scenarios that exist. Period. It is how we save lives. And it actually is how we save lives sometimes day in and day out in the classroom in ways that may not look like it. It's a student texting their parent or their sibling to say, hey, is everything all right? Because I can't get a hold of mom and I don't have a ride home. It is a student who checks in to say, I'm ruminating and my anxiety is out of control, or I'm having these symptoms, what should I do about it, right? It's frankly how we are finding people in cases where there's an actual emergency, right? And so in this world that exists, this is a considerable tool to safety and access. And I'm really grateful that we were able to come with a first pass that I feel like gives us some room to start thinking about it and exploring it at a school level and at a classroom level in a way that we haven't yet, so that hopefully those places where the decisions are being made, they have more support for us to move forward with more thoughtful processes around it. So thank you for that. I really want to applaud you.
All right. Denise?
Oh, thanks. Thank you to everybody who's contributed to this. It's such a lightning rod issue for so many reasons, and I'm impressed with the way everyone's chipped away at it and come back with something that I feel very comfortable voting yes for. So thank you.
Alexandra?
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, I really appreciate the change you made to the point two. I mean, I think it was a small change, but I think it was significant. In, you know, saying, just like you said, clarifying that really they are not to be used unless specifically authorized to be used for a specific purpose. And so I really appreciate how you took, you know, sort of the feedback we had last time, because I think a lot of us were a little bit concerned about that being a little too nebulous. And so I like this for sure. And then I would definitely still, you know, agree with what we had talked about last time as well, as far as, and like Lori mentioned, having kind of a revisit towards the end of the semester and be like, is this working? Do we need to make some more tweaks? Like, how can we do this? Because I think, you know, any policy, it can be the greatest policy in the entire world ever written, but really that none of that matters if it can't be implemented with fidelity and with the teachers having the support that they need and with the, you know, things like that. So I think that's really the important part of it, is to, once it goes out, see how it's really working and adjust where we need to. But I think, good job, thank you.
All right, and I'll wrap up. I have some problems with the draft policy. First, in the section entitled Purpose and Scope, this is fairly minor. The inclusion of meta glasses as being acceptable forms of a technical device. These meta glasses have been banned in school districts in several parts of the country. I read just today they have been banned on a number of cruise lines as well because of their capabilities. So I have a problem with that. I have a problem also with the expectations section in general. The unstructured time and classroom sections, I think, allow great inconsistency among the buildings. And I believe that if we're still going to allow some flexibility in some areas, I think we need to make sure that we're providing consistency in terms of what we're asking of the students and telling the community from building to building. I've received only a handful of emails asking for a policy that allows for access during unstructured time. On the other hand, I have received approximately 300 emails and calls asking for a bell-to-bell ban or some other type of a more restrictive policy than the one that's set forth in this draft policy. Several of the emails and calls that I've received have actually come from parents I know and also from teachers. I suggest that we postpone a decision on this until June. That gives us the opportunity to discuss this issue again at the June study session, perhaps again at the June business meeting, and vote at the June business meeting. This gives the staff a month for further work on this and still allows us to meet the state requirement of having a policy in place on July 1st. I want to close with some information from a 2024 research study done by the Pew Research firm, which revealed that 1/3 of all teachers at all levels believe cell phones are a major distraction in doing their job. 72% of high school teachers, when surveyed by this Pew Research study, said that they believed that the cell phone was a major distraction. Our two charter schools in the Thompson School District, Loveland Classical and New Vision Classical, both have bell-to-bell bans. Students are allowed to use the office phone if they have a particular need, and I've not heard that that particular approach has created a problem. So that's where I am on the policy that has been presented. And so I am the last of the board members to comment. So we will proceed then to a motion to approve the policy.
Do you want to make a motion to postpone? Is that what? Would you rather do that?
Under parliamentary procedure, I'm not sure that the chair can make that motion. Lori?
President Boyd, I would like to make a motion that we postpone the approval and second read of policy JICJ, student use of cell phones and other personal technological devices, until June. And I would request also in that motion that we address this at our June study session to have further information presented to us, as well as further discussion.
All right, thank you. In order for us to proceed, that needs a second.
I'll second it.
All right. Further discussion. All right, let me get out my cheat sheet now on what we do when we are postponing a motion. The advantage of postponing a motion over some of the other options is that it does include a definite date, and Lori did mention the date of the next study session. It is debatable, and it does require a majority vote. So we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion on a motion to postpone this item to the June study session? If not, let's proceed to the vote. Let's make sure that we're clear on what we're voting for here. So at this point, we're not voting on on a motion connected with the draft policy. We're voting on a motion to postpone further discussion on this until the June meeting. All right, Laura Lee, would you please call the roll?
For the, well, I was going to say for the discussion, are we going in sequence like you have been, or should a person just jump in?
Which would you rather do?
Well, you're the president.
All right. Let's start down with Dawn then.
I would say that future reviews of this can't include a away for the day.
I'm sorry, would you repeat what you said? I'm not sure I heard it.
Any updates to this can't include an away for the day to get my vote. It's not feasible, it's not practical, it's not accessible. And there are too many things, our kids have lives outside of school, and teaching them how to use it responsibly during their breaks is our obligation. So if we postpone this, I just want to make sure that it's clear that I won't vote for an away for the day policy.
All right, Denise?
I'm in the same position. Away for the day does not, I just don't see how it works in our large, very diverse classes or schools.
Okay, Alexander?
I appreciate your points, but I don't really see value in postponing it. I think what we've got is a good starting point, and I think, like I said, I would rather implement it and then revisit in a few months once we see how it's going. I don't see what would be changed substantially between now and June, in my mind, as
All
far
right.
as the policy goes.
Okay, Nancy?
Again, I think it's important to understand away for the day means that the student still has the phone with them. They still have their phone or personal technology device on them, and there will always be exceptions for IEPs, 504, all of that. That's built into the policy. I think postponing this, the only thing we would gain is that during lunchtime and class passing time, they would be put away and not in use. I could go either way, but I'm inclined to say let's just pass it and monitor it.
Lori?
In regard to postponing this to a date certain, I do believe that some of the issues that President Boyd brought up as far as with the meta glasses, making sure that that is specifically addressed, because that is truly a security issue and a privacy issue. So I say even just for that one aspect, we do need to postpone that to make sure that that is specifically addressed.
And we do have meta glasses in the policy. It is addressed.
It says that you cannot use meta glasses unless they are specifically required by a teacher.
Yeah, I want to make sure
Just
we're
call
clear that where meta glasses are mentioned is giving definitions of types of personal technology devices. So as this policy continues to expand, right, as technology changes, this policy will have to change. There was a point where cell phones wasn't a thing in our schools, and now there are smartphones, and we have tablets, and we have cameras, and we have smartwatches, and these meta glasses. They are trying to be as exhaustive as all the different things that might be considered a personal technology device, but all personal technology devices would fall under these expectations as far as not being used. Now, I will say with meta glasses, the challenge with them is there's not a light that comes on to tell you that they're being used, but we also have students currently in our system who have their prescriptions built into their meta glasses. So we would be asking parents to go change those out for a different set of glasses. The meta glasses is, I agree with you, there is a lot of concerns about how we're going to manage and monitor that because it is harder to know if they are or are not wearing them. I would struggle with telling a student they couldn't have those right now when they are their primary prescription glasses. The other piece I will just add is if the board decides to table this, we're going to need very specific guidance on what exactly you're wanting us to change between now, 2 weeks from now, when we come back to the board. Because so far what we've heard is different levels of expectation for what this policy could or should look like. I can't make a policy recommendation unless we have an idea of what you're specifically, as a board, kind of wanting us to change.
I do have one recommendation, which is
Just a second, Dawn. Lori, did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
Yes, please. I know that one thing that we had on, as part of our discussion was anything that is required as far as homework. We're not saying to ditch technology or anything by that stretch of the imagination. They still have their Chromebooks. They still have other ways to participate for homework related and assignments. It does not have to be something that they have to access on their phone because they do have their Chromebooks. And once again, I feel that this is moving the responsibility from the policy to the teachers. And I think we need to make it as easy for the teachers as possible. And once again, we have the medical needs and things of that nature. We're not disrupting that. And in regard to the worst case scenarios that were brought up, I know that during the live drill and the safety and security day that I attended, a lot of times, unfortunately for students, if they are on their phone or something of that nature, trying to communicate maybe with a parent, or you have 50 kids calling into 911, which call does that operator pick up? Where if they are put away, the first information they're going to get is from probably the most critical. And with just as far as the safety and the access, and also if they're distracted by a phone during a crisis, that a lot of times they will miss hearing important instruction from a teacher, from an SRO, from somebody that sadly, and I understand, I have compassion for people wanting to know about the safety of their children. Please hear me on this. But a lot of times if they are distracted by that, they're not going to hear the necessary instructions in order to keep them safe. So just something else to consider.
All right, Dawn, go ahead, and then I'll wrap up.
okay. So all of the concerns that were included in that I do believe need to be addressed and are asking to be addressed by this policy, I think are truly much deeper, richer challenges and important and worthy challenges. I think that you're not going to create a policy that's going to address the challenges that people hope will be addressed with an away for the day policy. And so I do think that having the data, having sharing best practices, sharing experiences, and not waiting. We, the board, don't need to be the ones to decide that something is really great and we should be doing it everywhere. I'd like to celebrate it because it is everywhere, and we realize that. I think sharing best practices, figuring out where the real barriers are that are policy related versus behavior related versus tools and supports and resources related is going to get us a lot further and actually make progress towards the challenges that we've been asked to solve. And so I don't want to discount that at all. I just want to do it in the right place. Because if we expect this cell phone policy to do any of that, it is going to fail no matter what we put on this piece of paper. And that would be way worse than taking steps now to try something and learn from it, or waiting because we're asking for a policy to address things that are much larger and deeper. We've had years of requests to address behavior, address bullying, arrest distraction, address how do we use technology well, how do we do things fairly and equitably, how do we not exclude, how do we include, how do we engage. Those are real pervasive challenges, and cell phones are a drop in the bucket, and they're just a really easy target to say that if we solved cell phones, we'd solve those problems. And reality is even with the schools who are seeing some great progress because of no way for the day policy, it's not all that. In fact, in many cases, it comes down to them having classroom sizes that are half the size of ours, having a student population that may not have access, a population that has purposely excluded the kids who need technology to access education. Those kinds of things probably have a lot more to do with why those policies are successful in that area. And so I'm passionate about us doing what we can towards the bigger, richer issue. And a tool, all tools are just tools. You can use a hammer to build a house or to murder someone. You can. And the same is true for cell phones. Cell phones are a lifeline for many students. They are how they access their education, and without them, they can't. And so, I won't be going anywhere on any policy that's away for the day, for delaying the critical needs that we have, or for distracting us with a cell phone policy when what we're really needing is more supports for supporting people in the classroom with engagement and enrichment and behaviors.
All right, I'll go ahead and wrap up. Just to quickly repeat one of the points that I made, I think particularly weak in this draft policy are the sections on unstructured time and classroom. I believe that the vagueness here allows for inconsistency among buildings, and I don't know why a district would adopt a policy that consists of such vagueness. Also, as a longtime educator, what I learned was that early on, if you establish a policy that's loose and weak, that then trying to tighten it, whether it's 2 months or halfway through the year or whatever, is more difficult than going the other direction, which is starting with something that's tougher, and then it's always easier to loosen it and is always better received by the people who are impacted by it. And with that, I think we're ready to proceed to the vote. The motion is a motion to postpone until the June study session. A yes vote has nothing to do with the policy itself. It has to do with whether you want to postpone it until the June study session. A no vote means that you do not want to do that. So Laura Lee, will you call the roll?
Stu Boyd.
Aye.
Denise Chapman.
No.
Lori Goebel.
Aye.
Don Kirk.
No.
Alexandra Lessem.
Nay.
Nancy Rumpelt.
Aye.
All right, the vote is 3-3, so the motion does not pass. Am I correct, Laura Lee, when there's a tie vote? Yes. So the motion to postpone fails. Are we ready to vote then on the motion to approve the policy as presented?
I move that we approve the policy as presented.
Okay, we need a second for that.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yes?
Yes?
President Boyd?
Yes.
I think the points that you brought up are very valid as far as, especially as far as tightening it up. I saw nods of the heads, in regard to the policy with the sections that were vague. And I would suggest that that be addressed as quickly as possible so that we could possibly even update this policy, maybe even at the June session, should it pass tonight.
All right. I believe we're ready to proceed to the vote then on the motion to approve the draft policy. Please call the roll.
Stu Boyd.
No.
Denise Chapman.
Aye.
Lori Goebel.
Nay.
Dawn Kirk.
Aye.
Alexander Lessem.
Aye.
Nancy Rumpelt.
Nay.
All right, so that is also a tie vote, so that motion also fails. So now what I don't know, and I don't have help from my cheat sheet here, is where we go then from here. The motion to postpone failed, the motion to pass, to approve the draft policy also failed on a tie vote. So where do we go from here?
Well, certainly you can engage in further discussion, and another motion can be made and see if anybody changes their mind based on some of the further discussion. I do have some things I would love to add to the discussion if and when you're ready, but I think Director Goebel has a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to make a motion that this item, the policy JICJ, be placed on the June agenda for both the study session and our regular board meeting. June study session, well, that's it, period.
All right, I believe that is another way of stating the motion to postpone. So I've never had experience doing this in this particular situation. So I think we need some guidance or some direction from someone who's knowledgeable and can help us figure out where we go from here.
I'd like to make a recommendation. It's pretty clear that there's some differing views up here. And so what I would recommend is maybe Dr. Heller, you request that we all by Friday send you what we would like to see changed, or we can sit here and hash it out. Those are the only two options that we have. So if we send in our recommendations to you by Friday, I can tell you right now, my recommendation would be that we just say every school in the district, no phones during lunch or passing period. They still have them on them. They're still turned on. And that we really clarify which classes would need a phone for instructional purposes. That shouldn't be, that would probably only be at the high school level, I can't imagine, but that would take away the ambiguity, so.
I do have another suggestion, and I don't know if this is allowable. We do have a board member missing. When I talked with this individual, he told me what his vote would have been had he been here. Is it possible no, let me finish.
Speak for another board member when they're not here.
I don't intend to speak for another board member. I intend to state what my suggestion is. Is it possible that we could have a vote via some other thing other than meeting in person when the other board member is back?
So any action has to be taken in a public meeting. So we cannot
Yes.
vote any other way other than taking action in a
Okay.
public meeting. I will say, both motions have died for lack of approval. So that can just be it for this meeting, and it'll be up to us. So then we will have to bring it back to June because both motions have died. We will have to bring it back in June. I would certainly ask for, and we'll probably reach out electronically using Nancy's suggestion to get some very specific clarity on what types of recommendations we would be bringing back to you, because we really have a very limited amount of time for us to make any changes. 2 weeks from now is that board meeting. We have to get all of our stuff in really by the Friday before, so we have a very small window of time to get these changes made. I do want to address one piece. There's a comment that was made that essentially this policy and the way it's written is going to put larger burden on the teachers or the staff to hold this policy, to make this policy happen. I want to be very clear. Any policy that says that kids cannot use their phones will fall only on staff at the administrative level, the teaching level, and the classified level. They will be the ones that will be having to say to a student, hand me your phone, you're using it inappropriately. So whether that policy is super general or very, very tight, it won't fall on me to enforce that policy. It'll fall on the people in our buildings to enforce that policy. I do know, talking to our building administrators, there is a lot of concern over the capacity of the system right now to confiscate the sheer volume of phones we will be dealing with if we're talking before school through the end of the day as a system. We do not have a place to store those phones safely. We don't have a way to catalog what condition those phones were in when we received them, so that we don't have allegations of phone destruction by students when we return the phone back to them. We don't have a mechanism when a parent says, you will not over my dead body take my child's phone, which I have already heard from parents regarding this policy. We don't have that capacity built in our system right now. That is my largest concern with today for fall, to put in something that is bell-to-bell, complete ban. Hearing from our staff, they feel, and have told me, again, this is not everyone, there's a concern about the capacity of the system to go from no policy to this far in a very short amount of time. That said, if that's the will of the board, we will do it, we'll put it in place, and we'll do our best to execute that with our administrators and with our staff. But I do have those concerns. Having lived through being an administrator in a bell-to-bell ban school, we will deal with a lot of real big challenges, especially for the first couple of years. I'm worried that we're going to be having kids put in in-school suspension because they refuse to hand over a phone. Some of those things that will come up over time. But like I said, both motions have died, so unless there's a different motion that somebody wants to make, this would be kicked to June. We would bring back a draft. If we're given enough feedback of what specifically people want to see changed, we can make those changes. The hardest part for us, I will tell you, is we're going to get ideas from 7 different board members, and each of those may be in conflict with each other, right? So some of those ideas may not agree with each other, and we have to navigate what actually goes in the policy that we as administration would be recommending to the board for next year.
Let me just say that bell-to-bell is only one of the stricter policies that could be considered. There are others that do not go quite as far as bell-to-bell. So in terms of where we go from here, because both of the motions died, my sense is that we are turning this back to you and your staff to bring something, whatever something looks like, back to the June study session. Board, do you agree with that on the basis of the fact that both of the motions failed?
I do have just a couple kind of clarifying things that I want to throw out there. One is that there is absolutely no possible way that I can do anything before graduation. I'm surprised I'm here. And so I know that my ability to give input is compromised, and I am one of 3 board members who is in a very similar position. And so there's a tight time frame, and what I did just hear is that what was put in front of us to vote on largely feels like the most practical or pragmatic solution for the capacity of our system today.
And I think that any changes to make it more strict that then we're trying to get done in June, we have even less time to try to figure out the solutions when we push it back. And that concerns me, and I just want to call that out because I think that there is some really considerable things for us to talk about. But I think us trying to solve them with the input of the people that we need is not going to be significantly improved 2 weeks from now either. And that concerns me I don't want to ask you guys to do something that I'm afraid won't be very feasible, and that concerns me. So I do want to just call that out because I think we're going to have a
we
challenge.
understood that. We've already discussed the fact that both of the motions failed. I don't see that we really have any other recourse except to turn the issue back to the staff and see what they come up with. Maybe they'll return with exactly what we're looking at today and consider it again at the June meeting. I think that's our only choice because those motions both failed. Okay?
President Boyd, do I need to withdraw that motion and you're just giving direction to staff to bring it back in June?
I think yes. I think
So
you
I
need
will
to
withdraw my
what was
motion.
essentially a motion to postpone. Okay. So that's what we're going to do on this. Thank you. All right. Let's see. There's my agenda. All right. We're ready to move then to agenda item 7.5, which is approval of tentative agreement for negotiations.
Good evening, President Boyd, members of the board, Dr. Heller, Tiffany Rogers, Chief Human Resources Officer, and I have with me Sue Timer, our TEA President. And we are here to discuss the tentative agreement for negotiations for the 26-27 year. And so I'm going to let Sue lead off with an update.
TEA did vote on the tentative agreement, and 59% of the TEA members voted to ratify the tentative agreement. So TEA has ratified it.
Do you have any questions for us? That's our only update for this evening.
Questions this time would start with Lori.
Just a couple of quick questions. Out of the number of teachers that are part of, or that are full-time employees that are part of TEA, what is that percentage? I've heard 51, 52% of the total number of teachers that are members of TEA. I just wanted to get a clarification on that.
As of our count, late October, because it has to be turned in by November, it was 52.8.
Yeah, I believe so. Not exact on the 0.8, but pretty sure.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question.
All right. Dawn.
I'm wondering if you got any feedback from the 41% who voted against it. And if we did, is it things that we talked about through the negotiation process and tried to address?
So you have optimism that 100% would vote.
Oh, yeah, fair. Thanks for that. Yep.
So we actually had 61.19% of the members vote. To be honest, we had 10 people, we had 10 people in our final count who had no votes. They were very disheartened by the financial situation.
Okay,
So the ones who spoke, not all of them spoke to me.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So we're talking about a pretty small percentage overall, and mostly it's about the situation and the pieces of it that we can't control. Okay, just wanted to clarify that I understand.
And there was a pretty strong sentiment that we as a union did not fight hard enough. And we shared that we felt there was a lot of collaboration and we did what we could.
And I would believe the negotiation teams as a whole, both groups are also disheartened by the financial situation, but are attempting to do the best that we can do with the financial situation that we have available.
All right. Denise?
Thank you both for leading the efforts for the respective parties. And the grace that the entire organization had, seeing, both sides and coming to an agreement. And you're in a no-win situation with the way the financial situation sits. So, yeah, we've made the best of what we can. Hopefully, and we'll do it again next year and see what happens. But it's a hard time right now.
Alexandra?
Oh, I don't think I have anything to add. Thank you for the work.
Nancy?
No, again, it's a difficult decision. The only thing I would add is I do wish at some point we could figure out how to get to the board some information that's really relevant to deciding the monetary raises for not just licensed, but classified in APT that we just recently, I think we need to figure out a way how to get some of that information to us sooner when we're trying to make a very critical financial decision when it comes to employee compensation. So, again, that's my wish. But again, I know you guys did a lot of hard work, so thank you.
I'll go ahead and conclude. As I've mentioned to the board before, I attended at least part of all of the negotiation sessions. I believe this was truly negotiations in good faith. Both sides did everything they could to cooperate and collaborate. I believe, having been there for most of the minutes that they spent together, that they received information, budget information, et cetera, that they needed to. And I believe that they believe that they arrived at the very best possible agreement that they could. And so I'll just echo what some of my board colleagues have said. Thank you for your part in that. We're involved in a difficult financial situation, but congratulations on the professional, collaborative approach that you and your negotiators provided. So thank you.
Thank you, and we are requesting this evening that the board, with the tentative agreement being ratified by TEA, that you would vote to approve the tentative agreement this evening.
All right. You've heard the request. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Further discussion? Laura Lee, please call the roll.
Stu Boyd.
Aye.
Denise Chapman.
Aye.
Lori Goebel.
Nay.
Don Kirk.
Aye.
Alexandra Lessem.
Aye.
Nancy Rumpelt.
Aye.
All right. That motion passed 5-1. All right. So the motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So what was formerly 6.8 now appears as discussion action item 7.6. This is the approval of the proclamation recognizing National Teacher Appreciation Week. Lori, you're the person who asked that it be moved. A handout connected with this. So I'll let you speak first.
I'm not sure if all of my colleagues had an opportunity to read the email. I did send an email to President Boyd yesterday, it was, and hearing back from him was given just a little bit of direction on how to proceed regarding this. And just wanted to make a couple of clarifications as I stated in the email. One was to remove the second whereas clause. The rationale was just acknowledging widely differing backgrounds implies that the teaching methods or expectations should vary on a child's background rather than holding all students to the same high standards of excellence. We've talked about this earlier tonight, as having that bar, have a high bar, and raising our graduation requirements as defined in, was it IKF policy. And just removing it ensures the proclamation focuses on equal education opportunity for every child without suggesting differential treatment by background. And then actually defining quality education, which is explained, we actually have that in one of our policies as well. The core, mastery of the core subjects, reading, writing, mathematics, science, and history, and development of critical thinking and character, delivered through proven evidence-based methods with high expectations for all students. And then having another clause put in about the children being, whereas the children being educated are precious to their parents, and we could even put in parents/guardians if that would be a correction somebody would like to make, or another amendment, who entrust the schools with their most cherished responsibility, the well-being, safety, and future success of their sons and daughters. I did have an attachment there, and as we discussed that this was a boilerplate proclamation, and I just believe these amendments were focusing more on equal education opportunity for every child and truly honoring our absolutely amazing and wonderful teachers. And I know that the week has come and gone, but this was not on the agenda till this month. But I would ask my colleagues to consider these amendments to this proposal or to the proclamation, and that we can truly stand in unison to support our teachers and families as well.
All right, Dawn?
Don't we have to have a second?
Did she propose an amendment?
You
Yeah,
just
the
asked me to
rewrite
explain
is an
it. So
amendment.
I would make a motion to approve the proclamation recognizing the National Teacher Appreciation Week as amended.
I'll second it.
All right. Let's proceed then to discussion. So Lori has offered her comments. Dawn?
I wouldn't be able to approve this second version because it violates board policy.
Denise?
We don't provide an equal education. We provide,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
said I don't think we are in the business of providing equal education. It's just an equitable education. But our kids are different, and so, you know, we don't just create robots here. So I can't approve the second. Although I did think the parents and guardians is a good thing, and then sons and daughters, I would just say young people or something there.
Alexander?
So I am not in favor of the amendments. I think that I think the teachers encountering students of widely differing backgrounds does not say anything about teaching differently or anything like that. And the very next sentence says, our country's future depends on providing quality education to all students. I think it's just acknowledging that they come from different backgrounds. And you even say that in your third statement, regardless of background. So I don't see that that is really any different. I don't see, I mean, I can see your point as far as defining the quality education, but I don't feel that that's necessary or important for a teacher appreciation to have that level of detail in there. The part I really take issue with when you added the guardians part, I think is helpful. But I think saying that the children being educated are precious to their parents who entrust the school, et cetera, et cetera. Unfortunately, there are many children in our students who are not precious to their parents. And while that is tragic, it makes it more tragic if we erase their existence by putting this clause in there. We have a number of students who are unaccompanied minors that we know that do not have anybody looking out for them. We have students who are taken care of by grandparents, by brothers, by sisters, by aunts, by uncles, by family, friends, I mean, by any number of people. And so I'm absolutely not remotely supportive of that thing, because like I said, it erases the experience of many of our students who very sadly are not in the situation that you mentioned there.
All right, Nancy?
I mean, overall, I understand the intent of the changes to it. I like defining quality education. I think that's good instead of using a boilerplate. I understand the point that Director Lesson's making about are precious to their parents. In the future, we could say something like are precious to their families, which would be more inclusive of whether it's a parent, a grandparent, a guardian. Overall, I do like the changes, unfortunately, because, I mean, this week is part of this month, and this is the last meeting that we have of this month. I just want to acknowledge that I appreciate her amendments and changes and understand them, but I would probably stick with the original proclamation simply because we don't have time to give this that it deserves.
All right, I'll wind up the comment on this. Lori, as I told you when you sent me the first draft of this and asked for my reactions to it, you've seen those reactions. The rest of the board hasn't heard my reactions. I don't interpret the content or intention of the second whereas clause in the same way that Lori does. Regarding the new clause that was proposed, kind of echoing what Alexandra said, many children these days are not being raised by their parents, and they're being raised in various ways by various people. And finally, I don't feel the need to define quality in the proclamation, although I certainly agree with your definition that quality education is grounded in the aspects that you mentioned and delivered through evidence-based methods. So with my being the last comment on this, I think we're ready to proceed to the vote. Let's see. We have a motion and a second, is that correct? All right, to vote on the amendment. All right. Lori, would you restate just the amendment part?
The amendments were to remove the second whereas clause as it was presented in our packet, and then to add the whereas quality education definition clause, and then the final clause of the definition of whereas children are being educated are precious. Those were the three changes.
All right. Has that received a second? Yes.
Yeah, I second.
All right. Then let's proceed to the vote. Lauralee, will you call the roll, please?
Stu Boyd,
No.
Denise Chapman,
No.
Lori Goebel,
Aye.
Dawn Kirk,
No.
Alexandra Lessem,
Nay.
Nancy Rumpfelt.
No.
All right. So that motion fails 5-1. So I believe now we are back to the original proclamation, which was 6.8. Help me if this isn't the way that we're supposed to do this, but I think probably we go
7.6.
back to that proclamation, which we now need to vote to approve the
Yes.
wording of the original proclamation.
Yep, you would need a motion and a second to approve the
Yes.
original proclamation.
All right.
I move that we approve the original teacher appreciation proclamation
All
as
right.
written.
That needs a
Second.
Dawn.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion?
President Boyd,
Yes.
I would like to make an amendment to add the whereas clause regarding quality education.
Would you say that again?
I would like to make an amendment to add in the whereas clause as presented in the email defining quality education.
All right,
Just that single one.
that needs a second. All right, that motion fails for lack of a second. So we're back to the original proclamation. We have a motion and a second, correct? All right, any further discussion? All right, if the original motion passes after that vote, then Denise, you had offered to read the original proclamation, and I'll ask you to do that then. Okay. All right, so Laura Lee, would you call the roll, please? Does everybody understand what they're voting on right now? Yes, okay.
Stu Boyd.
Aye.
Denise Chapman.
Aye.
Don Kirk.
Aye.
Alexandra
Aye.
Sorry, hang on. Denise Chapman, then Lori Goble.
Aye.
Don Kirk.
Aye.
Alexandra Lessem.
Aye.
Nancy Rumpel.
Aye.
All right. Before Denise reads the proclamation, just a bit of clarification. We were to have met during Teacher Appreciation Week, which was the week of May 4 through 8. We didn't meet because of the snowstorm and the snow day that Dr. Heller and other powers that be granted the district that day. I suggest that we honor our dedicated professional teaching staff by doing what Denise is going to read then in the proclamation. So Denise, would you go ahead then and read the proclamation?
Whereas teachers mold future citizens through guidance and education, and whereas teachers encounter students of widely differing backgrounds, and whereas our country's future depends upon providing quality education to all students, and whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling, and coaching students, and performing community service, and whereas our community recognizes and supports its teachers in educating the children of this community. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Thompson School District Board of Education proclaims May 4th through 8th, 2026 to be Teacher Appreciation Week, and be it further resolved that the Thompson School District Board of Education strongly encourages all members of our community to join with it in personally expressing appreciation to our teachers for their dedication and devotion to their work.
All right, thank you. I believe we're now finished with the discussion action portion of the meeting. We'll move to General Section 8, which is discussion items. 8.1, the 2026-2027 budget update. Of course, we had a request for a short break, about 7 minutes. Does that do it? Okay. All right, Bob, thanks for your patience. Ready for agenda item 8.1.
Good evening, Board President, members of the board, Dr. Heller. I'm Bob Ebersol, Chief Financial Officer, and I'm coming before you with a first draft of the 2026-27 school budget. The process, as we've noted before, first starts with student-facing process regarding the student projected pupil count. And as we've been going down in pupil count, that means the reduction of teacher classrooms because there are fewer students to teach. That proposed allocation was sent to the schools, including teachers, at-risk staff, and special education. The principals then adjusted that accordingly to their schools, and they came back and they were reviewed by the staff here. We reduced 11 positions in administration. We assumed level funding for all other staffing. We assumed level funding for non-FTE expenses to the extent possible. We noted that health insurance costs after reduction of adjustment for coverage is going up $2 million. The state, bouncing back and forth, ended up with giving us a moderate increase, about $400,000 to $500,000 after the cuts of the reduced students. So that resulted in a balanced budget with no wage increases. We were not taking a position one way or the other because negotiations were going on at that time. You just recently adopted the licensed negotiation process, which included steps and columns for staff, but with 4 furlough days for a net impact of 0. We appreciate that process. Following past practices and after some discussion with the board, and we have included in this budget a 1.76% increase for APT staff with 4 furlough days. It almost equals each other at that point. And following past practice and direction from the board, we have included a 2.76% increase of raises for classified, which is 1% more than the APT, in only 2 furlough days. So that results in pretty close to a 2% net raise for classified. From that, we have been working to update our budget format, and what was sent to you was the first draft using a proposed format that I've since sent you links by a separate email, similar to Poudre, St. Vrain, and Strasbourg was another one that we've used based on talking with other proposals. We will be sending you additional information as requested for the non-FTE portion. That will be coming out, and that will be included before the next draft comes out for the study session, and that will be included in the public portion as well. So you'll be able to review that. We appreciate your patience as we have been, ironically, preparing for the audit for the current year and doing the budget at the same time. We have not got the budget book to where we want to be, but it's the first attempt to do that. We will also, as the budget software goes through, we will not for your adoption this year because we aren't anywhere near that, but later this year we'll be able to slice and dice it by schools, by programs, and other information as for that's coming through that. After tonight, the next sessions will the next board session on June 3rd. You'll have another opportunity to talk about it there. I will be holding a budget community forum here on June 8th. And then ultimately you'll come back to the board for a meeting on June 17th at this point. Just coming attractions for the following year. We again are projecting additional reduction of students for the population for next year, so that'll be an additional reduction, additional increase in health insurance, which is probably about another $2 million. We have no idea what the state is going to do regarding cost of living, specific ownership tax, the averaging. The current formula has averaging of 3 years. They're talking about that going down each year to possibly 2 years, so we are catching up on that point. So that's my overall process. At this point, we have given you a little bit more detail on the other funds other than the general fund. When you actually do vote the budget, you will be voting on the budget for all the various funds at this point. And I would be open it up to any questions that you have on the initial draft.
All right. Dawn, I believe we'll begin questions on 8.1 with you.
I am looking at the projected pupil count, and I realize we're projecting, but it does seem to be a fairly decent increase. And oh, sorry, hold on.
The pupil count that you see in the description is a 3-year average. It's not the actual students we are going to see in the fall.
Thank you. Between that and me looking at the chart and reading the rows right, I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks, for now. Obviously.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for your walkthrough there, Bob, but particularly in kind of what's happened so far. It's helpful to see how it all came together. No particular questions about the numbers, but just thank you. You're thorough as always.
Alexandra.
So I just have a question on the licensed FTE. I know you had told us before that the number of teachers was going down by 19, so I do see that reflected there. I'm curious about the at-risk is going down 16.5 FTE, and I'm curious about that. If you could provide a little bit more information.
Sure. What we have found, the way the FTE listing has been here, has not necessarily been consistent with the actual staffing sheets for each school. So I believe, and I will do more research on this, that those positions are actually incorporated into some of the other positions down below, and that we've actually are keeping the at-risk. We have the Chief Human Resource Officer. That's right.
Some of it, I believe there's the number 12 in there. Some of that is in previous years, we took a 1% pool and pulled it aside. And so part of that is reflective of the 1% pool component being added into the at-risk. So there was a pool being pulled aside. When we did FTE, we kept 1% back. And we did that to use, so when people made requests, if we had increased headcount, what we did this year is we did not want our schools to work in scarcity. And so what we did is we gave out the entire FTE pool based on the new base models that we built. And so that's reflective of why that number looks different. So the at-risk looked different when we divvied it out.
Okay, and so is that also why the pool teachers looks different, because that's now incorporated into like base
Yes,
stuffing or
things in the
whatever?
buckets don't look the same as they did before when we laid out the base model and we pulled that FTE, had that FTE pulled aside.
Okay, okay.
But each of the schools that are entitled to at-risk actually have the assigned at-risk for the population of each of those schools.
And the other thing, we've been very intentional in how the at-risk pool is used, and so I'm being very intentional, so if we need to report that at a later date, we can explain those at-risk dollars are being used for X, Y, or Z. So we've been very intentional in our FTE planning for that and with the schools.
All right. Nancy.
So I know I sent you a lot in an email, and I'm still processing this. And so know that the sooner you can get out the next update, the better. I will say, again, like I said in the email, to have the non-FTE so summarized is just something that I'm not okay with. We spent a lot of money on that budget module, not so that we could be the same as other school districts, but for me, so that we could be different. We could set ourselves apart and show a better way to do the budgeting, reporting to the public. And so, and again, I know it's a long, drawn-out process getting this implemented. And so, I'll withhold, but I want you to know that as far as the public goes, I have been really talking about that, that you and Zach and your team are working hard, that with this new budget module, there will be a new level of transparency. And so I would just ask if there's any way that when you go to do the June, we get the final one to approve, that some of that is incorporated so that they can see that there is some transparency light, I don't know what else to call it, coming. So I know we've already had a lot of discussion tonight, so I'll probably hold any other questions until I get this next update, because I think that's the one that'll have a lot more information in it, so.
Sure. We will have the non-FTE almost in the exact same format as it is in the current year, because it's not ready to come out of the software yet. So you're going to get the information you're asked, but it's not going to be broken down into the different categories the way we will be doing it next year, but you will be able to see the information, so.
Well, I do have one last question. I'd be curious, because on the 3-year average of students, what would that number be if it wasn't the 3-year average? If it was actually what you're projecting for students to be here next year, what would it be if it wasn't the average?
I will have to get that number. I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Because that's what the schools have to use to staff, not a 3-year average.
That's correct. So when we did our staffing, we did it based on the actual students. We're getting effectively more money than we are going to have in the seats at that point.
I understand the 3-year averaging is all part of the fund
We'll
school
get you
finance.
the actual number. That will be, we work together.
The number of actual students when we're using it to budget for FTE is not just the students that are sitting in seats today.
Right.
It has to do with the projections that our demographer does to say what is the population coming in. Historically from, like just a good example from last year, from the time that we budgeted, from the time where the student count was in October, we lost 400 students from the time we budgeted to the others. So that's to tell you, we're looking at that projected kind of a model. So we're looking at people graduating and people coming into the system. So it
And
looks
that's
a
why
little
I was
different than the
asking.
actual head count, and that gets confusing for our principals. Sometimes we worked a lot on that this year, is talking about how that process works and why we do that method that we do.
Because I know the averaging is different than what you're actually planning for. So when you do the next one, maybe you could include that.
Okay. Great.
All right, Lori?
What was the funded pupil count for this last year? And
I don't.
I thought it was 13,871. I'm just trying to recall what it was. I remember at one meeting, Dr. Heller had that number just right in front of him.
That would be about appropriate, because the number going down is about 270, and I've been using the number 250 reduction. I will verify that and get that out with the next version.
And that was the count in October is the one they used, correct?
I will verify that.
Thank you. Just by having the reduction in admin of 11, I guess I was just kind of wondering, it's like on the classroom aides in the spreadsheet that you sent out. So it shows classroom aides reduced by 9.4. That was just in that spreadsheet that you sent out. And maybe I'll just say, just having a little bit better bucket explanation. Because I also saw, and I'm not finding here in my notes, but it was in regard to the Head Start program or the pre-K program, there was like there was a number somewhere that I was trying to figure out why it was in that particular place, because it appeared to be part of the K through 12. I think with teacher count is where that was. But just trying to figure that out. And then we have a communications and security specialist. We have an increase of 8 on, like I said, once again, back to the spreadsheet, which I appreciate.
I have a quick
But just-
answer on that one.
You do? Okay.
The security folks were budgeted in the schools and were considered their FTE. They've moved under Joe Vidansky in the security department. So that's how they are moved around.
Is there any way we could get a little asterisk to have explanations when stuff like that happens? Because that would make a lot more sense, especially, from the outside looking in, people, just pulling this up and like going, oh my goodness, we're almost doubling our staff on that. Why did that happen? And that's, it makes a lot of sense when you say, hey, it moved from here to there. So I appreciate that. And that's all I have for now. Thank you.
All right. I'm not going to ask any questions about the numbers themselves, but I'm curious and would like you to refresh my memory, at least, if not that of the other board members. What are the significant dates between now and, is it June 30th, by which we need to have formalized, finalized the budget? Can you tell us what the next steps are? When will we see you in June? What will we be doing at those particular meetings, et cetera?
So the first important date was today. We had to get you a draft budget. It didn't have to be the final draft budget before the end of May.
Mm-hmm.
The second deadline is I have to hold a community forum. That's on June 8th. You have to vote by June 30th, so your second board meeting is when you vote. The study session is not in statute, but that's when we give you the initial thing that is going to end up becoming in June. So you will have, the board will officially have 2 times at your study session and your final session in June. And then if you want to come to the community forum, you're welcome in that, but that one we try to open up to the forum. In addition, we were advertising in the Reporter Herald, and I put a copy of a draft budget at the Berthoud Library and the Loveland Library for public access as well.
So you have some busy weeks ahead of you, you and your staff.
We do.
All right. Is there anything in particular that you would like the board to know in regard to challenges you're facing connected with this whole process?
I have not had any challenges communicating with anybody in the organization.
Okay, good.
The union, department heads, staffing, board comments, everything is welcome. We've been incorporating the information together. Information, when we were talking about a reduction of administrative staff, is not done by finance. Cabinet was reviewed on that. We looked at various positions. We also understand that we are looking at what's going to happen next year. Depending on the 2 ballot questions that we're expecting to be there, there may be additional funding that will help us solve our concerns, but we will still be looking for the right sizing and the right positions that we would be having when going forward at that part.
Regarding those 2 funding measures, we know that 26-135 will be on the ballot because that's passed both the Senate and the House and probably signed by the governor. Is that correct?
I've not heard about the governor signing anything
Okay,
yet.
I don't know about that. Okay, and then is the deadline for 175, is it 175 or 195? Because there are 2 ballot initiatives. The one that's the graduated income tax, they have until sometime in August to finish gathering their signatures. Is that right?
Since that's not my job, I don't remember the date.
Okay, all right.
Leave that to the
But you
Secretary
know
of
that's in
State.
process.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. All right. Any other questions from the board?
I welcome any email questions. That's the best way to get it. And then as we do regularly, we share the answers back. I do have one more thing to give back to the board. For the current year budget, so that it's easier for you to read, we now have ledger-sized copies of the current budget because the I would like to say that's how I've increased the budget, but that's not how it works.
Bob, you just came into the inner sanctum. You're aware of that, right? You're going to read that. There you are.
The new budget book will not require the need to have to be making the things as big, so.
All right.
Thank you for your attention.
And thank you again, Bob, to you and your staff for all the hard work you're doing. All right, we're going to move to agenda item number 9, which is future topic items for board consideration. Does anyone have anything that you would like to talk about and offer as a future topic? Yeah, Nancy said we don't have time
President
for
Boyd?
anything else.
I'm not sure if this would go under this or request for information, but I would like to discuss the possibility of doing an independent survey as to school, why parents, guardians, whoever are choosing to have their children educated outside of Thompson, and then also to the Thompson parents, what is, why are you choosing Thompson, so that we can better meet the needs of the families and the students. I'm
All
not
right.
sure where that would go under.
Let me make sure I'm understanding what you're asking for. So you'd like to do some type of a study, which would...
Well, we had discussed exit surveys, but that, I'm not really seeing the information from that as far as, I know we written the opt-in, opt-out number was 1,100 that opted out, and we've talked about it briefly, or it's been mentioned to do some type of exit survey, but I think maybe we need to discuss having an outside group do something of that nature, like we do with several of our other studies, in order to get information to better serve our students and their
Again,
families.
let me make sure I'm understanding what you're asking for. So we're talking about students here, we're not talking about staff. Is that correct?
Correct,
All
yeah,
right.
but
So you're asking if the district could conduct some type of a survey to discover why students are leaving the district and also why other students are staying in the
Correct.
district? Is that what you're
Correct.
asking for? Dr. Heller, I'd have to...
Yeah, President,
defer
Boyd, I
to
will say that
you.
we've already, the cabinet has been working on for lack of a better word, an exit survey that would be provided to families when they inform us that they're leaving, so that we can gain some information. Purely optional, we can't obviously require them to do it, but we are working on the kind of fine tuning what questions we'd want to ask. The next step will be figuring out the mechanism to make sure it's happening across every different campus, and how do we do that? So Cabinet has been working on developing that tool, and then we'll have to work probably in the fall with our receptionists, our secretaries, registrars, those folks that when they're notified the family is has an intent to go somewhere else for whatever reason, that they would ask those families to complete that survey.
All right, so this is information that would be available sometime, maybe during the first semester of 26, 27. Is that the hope?
Yeah, well, my hope is once we have a kind of a game plan on how we're going to pull this off, then we can bring that to the board and give them a report on kind of and let you see what the survey questions are asking, all of that.
Okay. All right, thank you, and thank you, Lori, for raising that. Anyone else? Future topic items for board consideration? Hearing none, let's move to agenda item number 10, board communication. Each member of the board, excuse me, has the opportunity to report on events or to communicate with other board members and the community. Limit of 3 minutes per board member. And Denise, I'd like to start with you.
I don't have anything this evening, thank you.
All right. Alexandra?
I don't have anything prepared per se, but I think I've just sort of been reflecting a lot on the last 15 years. As of Saturday will be my last time being a parent in the district, which has its pros and cons, but it's been a long time. And it's been a journey. Hearing all of my band friends here today talking about the band, all of you guys know that that's been a huge part of our time as well. Hearing about, my kid was one of the kids building the furniture at the landing, and he was doing it with two of his friends, one of whom he's been friends with since kindergarten, and the other one since middle school. And so it's kind of a lot. And it's been a journey, and it's been, we've had our ups and downs. We've had, overall, I would say it's been a positive experience for my older child, and now for Isaac, who's graduating on Saturday, God willing. And I think I'm grateful for being on the board, that I'll still be able to have a connection to the district for another few years, and it won't feel like quite as much of a loss. So I appreciate all of you. I appreciate the role that I have, and I look forward to continuing to serve as a non-parent, which will be something very different.
Yeah, before I move on to the next person, this dawned on me the other day that your younger child is graduating this year. Dawn, your youngest child is graduating this year. Mike isn't here this evening. He's attending an out-of-state graduation event for a family member. His younger child is graduating this year. And so that's a real period of transition for at least 3 of the people on the board who are currently board members and parents. And Denise, you've been through this with the last child. I've been through this with the last child. Nancy, you've been through this with the last child. And Lori, I assume you have too. So it's, I guess it's part of what board members do to grow up, I guess, for lack of a better term. So thanks for letting me interject that. Okay, Nancy, I'll ask you next.
I do have a quick report, but I will just follow up with that. Once they all leave for college and everything, then you begin the discussions of, well, who really didn't throw away the empty cereal box and put it back? Because there's no one left to blame.
Except Robert.
Except Robert. So, anyway, put that aside. So, I don't think I've talked about the security train that we did. I can't remember. But it was a fun day. I think the best part was the role-playing part. And that was like the end of April. It seems like forever ago. And then last Friday, and this Tuesday, I was a panelist at High Plains for their project-based learning class, and that was really interesting. I have to say that's the first time I've done it, and I really enjoyed it. And it was also nice and sad, because it's also Lindy Jones is retiring, and so that was it. But the kids were. It was interesting listening to them, to all of their solutions. I was explaining that maybe it's time we really do need to implement classes on government earlier, because some of their ideas were, well, one was they wrote a letter to Mayor McFall to basically make a law that no more energy drinks can be in schools. And then another said school boards could just ban energy drinks, and same with cities. So, but it was really a fun thing to go through and score them and give them feedback. I really enjoyed doing it. And then this isn't school related, but I did attend Issues on Tap this Monday, and John Kinney gave this really fantastic report on what's coming for the regional airport, which I had no idea, which I think will be so good for the school district. Colorado Springs only has 500,000 when they did their regional, but we're already at 900,000 for potential customers. And so they're going to close down the runways, widen them, and then sometime this in Q1 of '27, it's very likely that we'll start having some commercial air service, which I think will just be good for the community, bringing in other jobs, more tourism, which I think will also help us in trying to attract more teachers and staff. So it was a great presentation, and that was really exciting, so that just so we don't have to go to Denver to get a plane. But anyway, that's my report.
All right. Lori?
Thank you, President Boyd. I just wanted to give a shout out. Today is a historic day as my grandson's birthday. So I want to say happy birthday, Jesse. And he is actually a member of an award-winning band in his school district. I would also like to thank Joe Vidansky and his team for putting on that live drill, the Safety and Security Day. It was very, very eye-opening, and I would truly encourage everyone, board members, and especially faculty, staff, to attend that. I learned so much that day. It was absolutely wonderful. And hearing that about the airport, I hadn't heard that yet. So my oldest son actually did with a college, and they had concurrent credits, and he was able to get his private pilot's license before he even graduated high school. So with the colleges here in the area, I think that'll be a great asset as well. So, and just in mentioning that about my grandson is because of that love that for my grandchildren that I do serve here on this board. And this last Sunday, May 17th, was another historic day because it marked Rededicate 250, a national jubilee of prayer, thanksgiving, and rededication on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. And it was an honor to pray along with the leaders of our country as we celebrate America's 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And here's a bit of history. It was exactly 250 years ago on that day, May 17, 1776, that the Second Continental Congress proclaimed a national day of humility, fasting, and prayer. Congress called on the American colonies to set aside that day to confess their sins, seek God's forgiveness, and humbly ask the Almighty to protect the cause of liberty and establish, quote, the peace and freedom of America on a solid and lasting foundation. And George Washington even ordered the Continental Army to observe it as well. So our founding fathers understood that the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are endowed by our Creator. And they believe that a free public requires citizens and leaders who acknowledge dependence upon providence. And that same spirit of prayer and rededication guided them as they moved towards independence just mere weeks later. And I honor that heritage. As a school board, we have a special responsibility to ensure our students learn the true history of America's founding, including the central role of faith, prayer, and moral character in the birth of our nation. May this year's celebration of 250 years of America remind us all, their parents, guardians, educators, leaders, to recommit ourselves to the principles that made America the greatest republic in history: liberty, justice, and gratitude to our Creator. And we, like our founders, seek wisdom and unity so that the next generation inherits not only knowledge, but also the character to keep America one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Dawn?
I'm in the same boat as you.
I'm sorry?
I'm in the same boat as Alexandra. This is such a momentous occasion, and I really have been incredibly grateful for all the amazing educators who have been part of my children's lives. I've just seen some of the most beautiful things, and I'm constantly amazed by the talent and care that our staff shows up with every day. They have patience and kindness and depth I mean, it's amazing, and I'm inspired by them. I'm also grateful that I got to do this work, because when I started on this board, I wouldn't have been able to say that same thing about some of the experiences my kids have had. And, you know, in this short time, there have been such significant changes, and I realize that that's asking a lot of people who were kind and dedicated and caring the whole time. And so I'm really grateful for their ability to show up that way every day for kids. I am incredibly grateful for this district. It's my home, and I'm also really impressed with our kids. I think I do want to take a second to just shout them out. Regardless of how kids cross that finish line, it is a beautiful thing to see just how they take in what we're offering and use that to then figure out what they're going to do next, or not yet, because who had it figured out at 18? Everyone I know who thought they didn't. And so I'm really grateful for all of the experiences that we've had, and what I've seen the students do with it. So thank you to everyone who's been part of this. And if you see me crying in the next week or so, just, give me some water, because I'm probably going to need it.
All right. Absolutely. You can reclaim your spot.
I shall reclaim. It's made me feel, really, having graduated too last year, my younger son stayed with the district and went through Project Search. And Brett and I were at the graduation this last week. My son wasn't, because he's obtained employment as a result of being a part of Project Search. But I just want to say what a great program that is. I mean, the kids with such diverse skills and talents and challenges were able to be part of the community of the hospital. I mean, there must have been 30 to 35 employees there, all excited, not only for the cake, but to see these kids that they'd really built relationships with, and gone through kind of hard times there at the hospital as they were closing and changing. And to see the joy and the tears of the graduates, or I guess, they graduated last year, and get their diploma. It was really a wonderful thing that we have in the system, and those are kids that often, get overlooked or don't get to the finish line, and it was just nice to see them hit that moment and be celebrated again.
All right. I've recently received emails from community members, enough that I felt that I needed to respond publicly in some way. So I've actually communicated with our attorney, Coulter Bump. I've sent her 2 or 3 drafts of what I'm going to read to you. What I'm reading is from an individual board member, not from the president of the board, and that's where I really wanted her input. So with that as an introduction, let me read this to you. When an individual board member states during either board comments or the discussion before a vote that their individual values, beliefs, or ideology is the major factor determining their vote or position, that statement becomes problematic for me, because it violates what I believe board members swear to do and is disrespectful to the rest of the board who have checked personal agendas at the door. When we became board members, we swore to uphold the board's code of ethics, policy BC-E-1, 3 of which are these: render all decisions based on the available facts and my independent judgment, and refuse to surrender that judgment to individuals or special interest groups, and inform ourselves about educational issues that we will discuss, including those issues that particularly impact a segment of our population. And finally, remember always that my first and greatest concern must be the educational welfare of the students attending our district schools. So then, complete change of direction here. I tried diligently on behalf of the board to acknowledge all emails that the board receives. Because we've received approximately 300 emails in the last week related to the cell phone policy, I haven't been able to acknowledge those. Please know, however, those of you who are listening, that the board has received them and the board appreciates your comments. And finally, as you've heard, May is a very busy month for board members. I've enjoyed attending several school and district events. Two highlights for me were the Geometry and Construction Open House at Thompson Valley, celebrating their completion of another house for Berthoud Habitat for Humanity. And also I attended the final Thompson Leadership Academy session of the year, where I was asked to speak about board duties and responsibilities. And someone said maybe we'll get board members, from that group, or maybe after they heard what I had to say, they'll decide, maybe not, maybe that's not for me. Anyway, so moving on then. Agenda item number 11 is written reports, and written reports were part of what we all received. 11.1 District Accountability Committee minutes, and 11.2 Families Partnering in Education, the PIE, the PI report. Agenda item number 12, does anyone have a request for information? Hearing none, meeting adjourned.